In the year of our Lord 2014, we'll have prayer from Bishop Brandon.
Check the mics. It's
I
on.
thought I put it on. I thought I did. Please stand. All right, Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. Let's look to the Lord. Father, we thank you for this awesome day that you made, and it's the day that you made for us, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Father, we ask you to continue to bless the chairman, the council members, and we're grateful for our mayor. And God, in this council meeting, I ask you to give them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as they will make decisions that will affect our city. Use our council for your glory. We thank you for this great city, the next great city of the South, and everything we do, it is for your glory. So we thank you for unity. Behold how good, you said, and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. We are better together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Everson?
Here.
Mr. Oliver Jenkins? Mr. Corbin?
Present.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Shine?
Present.
Mr. Sam Jenkins?
Present.
Oliver Jenkins, present, sir.
I was trying to wait on Mr. Oliver Jenkins.
I was in there with the city attorney. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
We will accept it as a valid.
Yeah.
You know those attorneys are long-winded.
Oh, well, now that's true. That's true.
Present company excluded.
That's
I
true.
was including him, but
That's true. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference Monday,
Second.
November 10th, 2014, and city council meeting Tuesday, November the 11th, 2014? It was moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Corbin. Any questions or discussion? Any corrections? If not, let's all vote, please. Minutes passed with a 7-0 vote. At this time, I'd like to suspend the rules for a couple of resolutions and to bring up where's former city councilman?
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay.
Left-hand.
Can I get a second on the
Second.
motion? Okay, it's been moved and second that we would suspend the rules. Let's vote at this point. Okay, Monty, we're gonna bring you up right now, and then we have a resolution for former city worker. Mr. Mayor, you might want to say a word or two after we read the resolution from Preston Edwards, who was a long time, actually Caddo Parish school teacher. And then he worked for the city for a long time. Monty, so glad to have you back. I usually look over to the left or to the right. Now I'd see you.
I like it out here. This
Monty,
is really
don't say
nice.
that now. Don't say that. You were a tremendous public servant.
Thank you.
Tremendous public servant.
I'm Monty Walford, 960 McCormick, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, council members. I just come to say thank you. On November 8th, we had the semi-annual Texas Avenue Makers Fair, and it was a resounding success. It was different from years past, and since it was a great success, I can tell you, I think we have to blame the mayor because you kind of came up with the idea of showcasing municipal and talked to Dan about it.
And Jason?
And we did. We had the whole thing without closing Texas Avenue. We used the parking lot at municipal, and we closed Elvis Presley, and it was more compact, but
Is this one?
everybody loved it. We've had 2 complaints from vendors. One just didn't like anything, and the other one's only complaint was she spent more than she made, so I think that sounds really good. But one thing is we were showcasing municipal. We had we had music at different times, and we had the symphony brass ensemble, and they didn't particularly like the stage that we had. So they went up on the steps of Municipal and performed up there, and we've got to do something like that again. It was fantastic seeing them up there and the crowd standing around watching, and you ought to be smiling. You're working on one. But it was good. And I just need to thank you for your support. Thank Spar, Shelley, Catherine, Ronnie, Monica, Samantha, and I know I'm forgetting some folks, SPD. We couldn't have done it without their support and making it all work. We'll do it again on, I believe it's April 11, and we want to make it even better than ever, going back, maybe expanding a little bit on that same venue, but it showcases Municipal, and if you look at our Facebook page, someone took a picture from Texas Avenue of all the vendors with Municipal and a nice blue sky in the background that it showcases. It really does. So again, I just came to say thank you. We are doing a one-day festival that I don't think can be beat, and I think it says a lot for Shreveport, and I was remiss. I need to thank SHRAC as well, because they assisted us. And all those people that I missed, if you're watching this or hearing this, I'm sorry, but we thank you too. So thank y'all very much.
Y'all did a
One
great
thing
job.
I can tell you're a true politician. You didn't leave anybody out.
Yes, sir, and thank you again, Mr. Shine.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I just want to say to Monty and to Dan and to Jason Brown, I believe, and all of the folks who are a part of the committee and the task force who head up to Make Us Fair, thank you for giving this gift to the city of Shreveport. I was one of those folks who was completely uninitiated when this idea first came forward. Had no idea what a Make Us Fair was. When I went to the first one, was just simply overwhelmed by all the wonderful people with all of their crafts and what have you that they were making and selling and sharing. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to this community. And the fact that you guys have managed to be able to shift it around and do it in a way that allows us to be able to tap into the renovated municipal auditorium is a great, great thing. It shows you the power of what happens when three guys stand around at the end of a Make Us Fair with a plate of free cookies and sit there and just kind of brainstorm. And so kudos, let's keep it up and make it even bigger and better.
All right, one more thanks. Most of these people don't know this, but we wouldn't have had that parking lot if I wouldn't have pestered you to death and then pestered you to sign the contract, because I had this idea of what it looked like, and it has been
Absolutely.
the greatest thing we could have done, and we couldn't have done it without working together and
Absolutely.
making that happen and getting rid of blight, and it's such a contrast now from the blight we had to the beautiful situation we have now, accenting Municipal. So we will hope that we will see you there
Absolutely.
in April. I'll take you riding all around in the golf cart.
Absolutely.
Now, while I'm at it, somewhere there's a city attorney that's an artist, that's a maker.
It's Julie Glass,
Julie Glass.
who is one of our very own outstanding artists who has an exhibition
At Art
that
Space
is,
right now.
where is it now?
Art Space.
At Art Space right now as we speak.
Well, I'm going to get Julie to the Makers Fair too. But thank y'all again very much.
Charles, I thought he was talking about you when he said we have a city attorney who's an artist. Monterey is sitting right there.
Yeah.
Charles,
There
go
she
ahead.
is.
Well, Charles and his wife were there spending money. We really enjoyed having them at the fair.
That's a great type of attorney too, the ones that spend money.
They make so much. Thank y'all.
Well, now,
Company excluded.
Charles and Arthur has plenty of money to spend. Mr. Thompson, would you read 217? Ms. Edwards, would you and your family please come up to the podium there?
Just like his dad.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Resolution to commemorate the life and accomplishments of Preston Edwards, a native of Shreveport, an educator and former City of Shreveport Public Assembly and Recreation employee, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto by Councilman Joe Shine. Whereas Preston Edwards, a former City of Shreveport employee and educator, died Tuesday, October the 21st, 2014, at the age of 74. And whereas Preston Edwards worked for the city of Shreveport, the Public Assembly and Recreation Department as center manager of Chris Hayes Community Center for 7 years. And whereas Preston Edwards was highly known for facilitating outstanding educational and cultural programs such as the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. program, the African American History program, and Jazz in the Park. And whereas Preston Edwards was a graduate of Booker T. Washington High School and Grambling State University, and whereas Preston Edwards was an educator for over 20 years in Moortown and Summerfield Elementary, Hamilton Terrace High, and Bethune Middle School, and whereas Preston Edwards touched the lives of thousands of Shreveport youth as an educator, mentor, and public servant, and whereas the loving spirit of Preston Edwards continues to flow throughout Shreveport's Hollywood community, preserving love, peace, and humanity for all. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in regular and legal session convened that the Shreveport City Council commemorates the life and accomplishments of Preston Edwards, especially his invaluable efforts to make Shreveport a better place to live for all citizens. And this resolution has been signed by Joe Shine, Chairman, and by the other 6 City Council members.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and by the chair, second by Councilman Sam Jenkins. Any questions or discussion at this particular point? Ms. Edwards? Oh, is Shelley here? I didn't see her earlier. I knew your husband for many, many years. We were very good friends. And I want you to know that, and Preston made, and for his offspring, Preston made a very worthwhile contribution to the city of Shreveport. Not only to the kids at Bethune, where he taught for about 20 years, but for the whole Motown area. And it's a privilege for me to be able to do this for Preston. And I don't have to tell you, Preston was a people's person. Preston didn't meet anybody that he did not like. And sorry to see, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. And and I know that he's in a better place now than when he was here. So it was an honor for us for you to let Preston work for the city of Shreveport in the recreation department for as many years as he did, because he loved it. He loved working with those kids over there, and he loved working with the adults in that area. And again, it's just so good that you let Preston work with us for as long as you did, and we appreciate it. And I'd like to give you and your kids an opportunity to say anything if you all have something to say.
To Chairman Shine and to our Honorable Mayor and the rest of the councilmen and everybody who's assembled, I want to thank you for presenting this resolution about my husband. And we do know that he really loved working for SPAR and over at that Chris Hayes Center. He loved that, and working with those children. That was his aim, to educate children to make their lives better. And we appreciate this honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Your son wanted you. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
I'll just thank everyone.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you want to say a word or two?
Mr. Shine, council members, within every person's life, there are individuals who are part of the village of people who are around you that help to make you the individual that you ultimately end up being blessed to become. And Coach Edwards was one of those folks who was a part of the extended village for literally hundreds, if not thousands, of young boys and girls all across the city of Shreveport throughout these various schools who had the privilege of having someone like him enter their lives and serve as one of those role models, serve as one of those positive influences, serve as one of those chastening influences that kept you on the right road, that gave you those pearls of insight and wisdom that allowed you to be able to stay in the right direction. And even when you fell down, was there to be one of those folks who would help you get back up and start you back on your way. So as has been said, thank you all for sharing the gift that was your husband and your father, and know that he touched the lives of many, many people across this city, and for that we give him thanks.
I'd like to ask you to vote at this particular point, and I'll present this to
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Let's move on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
I was sad to miss you running the council meeting.
Guess when can you miss it?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
two things. One, I'd invited Councilman-elect for District G, Jerry Bowman Jr., to join us up here today so he can get a view of what it looks like on this side. I also wanted him to sit very close to Oliver Jenkins, my namesake, so he can become familiar with Oliver.
Join the family.
And his voting record. So I certainly want to welcome Councilman-elect Jerry Bowman Jr. to the dais today, and look forward to working with him. I would also like to call up resolution number 218, a resolution dedicating the 7700 block of Red Fox Circle in honor of Mr. James Donald Moore. And this request was actually initiated by former City Council member for District F, Pastor James Green. I'd like to call that matter up at this time.
James, would you please come up to the podium and bring Mr. Moore, that's who the resolution is for.
I think he has his lovely wife with him also.
Oh, you have your wife with you?
She's gonna participate.
Well, tell her to come on up too. Tell her to come on up too.
Maybe she won't disobey Joe
Moore, why
Shower.
don't you come on up?
Embarrassed this wife and all these years. How many years?
Ask the clerk to read the resolution. I would join them at the podium.
Okay.
It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to dedicate the 7700 block of Red Fox Circle in honor of Mr. James Donald Moore, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto by Councilman Sam Jenkins. Whereas Sam Jenkins requested that the 7700 block of Red Fox Circle be dedicated in honor of Mr. James Donald Moore, and whereas James Moore was born and reared in Caddo Parish, whereas James Moore graduated from Odessa High School and then attended Centenary College, during which time he married Margaret Hughes, and whereas James Moore received his Bachelor of Science in Mathematics in 1952 and taught high school in Ida, Louisiana for 1 year, and whereas James Moore and Mrs. Moore moved to Ruston so Mr. Moore could pursue a degree in engineering at the then Louisiana Polytechnic Institute, and whereas James Moore graduated in 1955 with a Bachelor of Science in Civic Engineering to begin a half-century-plus career in civic engineering and land surveying, and whereas James Moore is a registered professional engineer and land surveyor in both Louisiana and Texas, whereas James Moore founded the James Moore and Associates in 1966 and then incorporated Moore and Associates in 1970, and whereas James Moore has been the primary engineer and surveyor for numerous residential subdivisions in Caddo and Bossier parishes, the largest ones being Southern Hills, Huntington Park, Lambert Park, Country Place, Green Acres Place, The Haven, Savannah Place, and Legacy. And whereas James Moore trained and mentored countless young civil engineers, and surveyors who have gone on to form their own engineering surveying firms. And whereas James Moore has held many offices in local engineering and land surveying societies and has been the recipient of numerous awards over the years, most notably the LES Shreveport Chapter E.M. Freeman Professional Society Award and the Louisiana Tech Civic Engineering Distinguished Alumni Award. Whereas James Moore has served on various civic and religious committees and has held the office of deacon at both Ford Park Baptist Church and Brookwood Baptist Church, and he holds memberships in the North Louisiana Historical Association, the Home Builders Association of Shreveport-Bossier, and the board of the Shreveport Water Works Museum. And whereas the offices of Moore and Associates, Inc. were located on Buncombe Road near Red Fox Circle for many years, and whereas James Moore helped make it possible for the Union Mission Baptist Church to build their worship center on property that was adjacent to offices of Moore and Associates, Inc. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due legal and regular session convened that the mayor on behalf of the city is authorized to dedicate the 7700 block of Red Fox Circle in honor of Mr. James Donald Moore to honor his many contributions to the City of Shreveport. And this has been signed by all of the city council members.
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins. Any questions or comments at this particular point before we vote? I'll recognize Reverend James Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Mayor, and to Chairman, and to the City Council members. Certainly, it's a pleasure to be here today, and it's a pleasure to have this honor bestowed upon Mr. and Mrs. Moore. Certainly, they've been a jewel to us, the Union Mission Baptist Church, and we really appreciate them. They've been angels to us, and certainly we, the officers and members of the Union Mission Baptist Church, would like to say thank you. We have a couple of members here with us. My wife is here with us, and we just wanted to come down and say thank you.
You want to have your wife to stand in honor?
Bernie.
Okay.
Now we'll have words from Mr. Moore.
Much time to do. Thank you. Yes, Mark and I have worked together for many years. I loved to engineer, land plan, did many more subdivisions than were listed, but I loved to engineer and survey. But Margaret loved to send out invoices, and so we did well. And we appreciate the city of Shreveport and the parish of Bossier and Caddo giving us a privilege of doing what we love to do. And we finally retired after all these years. We thank you very much for this honor. Thank you.
Your wife want to say something?
I can't believe it.
I know it's probably pretty hard for you to say anything around the house. So I thought maybe you'd come down here and you could say something.
I'm the master of stories about the old days, but she's the one that comes along and corrects.
Sam, did you want to say anything else?
Also, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to thank Councilman Jenkins for doing this for us, and also we'd like to thank Jackie for working so hard to help it to get done. Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman and the council.
We appreciate it. And Mr. Moore, we just appreciate all of the contributions that you've made to the city of Shreveport, and I appreciate those phone calls that I've gotten from you from time to time. Some of them I didn't tell Cedric about, but I appreciate it. And make sure you stay engaged, yeah? Shreveport needs you, okay? At this time, let's vote, please. Okay, the resolution was passed with a 7-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
And I understand that Pastor Green is extremely happy that you all just voted unanimously to pass this. I got by other means communicated to me that his deacon board had told him that he either had to get this done or they were going to change the name of the church to Moore's Chapel. So now that this is done, he can go ahead and not have to worry about changing the church stationery or the sign out front.
That's why we hurried and got this passed for you, James. All right, Councilman Oliver Jenkins, I believe you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I'd like to bring up an issue that was brought up yesterday. Property standards 1400148. If Dorothy, are you in the chamber? You are, okay. And do we have any, let me first ask this, Councilman Shine.
Yes.
Do we have any public comments on this particular issue? Request to speak?
I believe we have some people here that's down, that would anybody who's here, I think, what is it, about 7, 8 of you all? Would you all like to
I
come
have
up?
spoken to a lot of them today, but I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know if you had,
No, I don't have any.
I mean, it's okay.
Huh?
Okay, if you'd like, you don't have to. I've got a pretty good feel, and I think the council probably has a pretty good feel of what the issue is, but I don't want to deprive anybody of that opportunity.
Right. I got it.
If we miss anything, you let us know, okay?
I got an earful earlier, so you know, I'm ready to act.
Okay, so Dorothy, why don't you come up and kind of just give us an overview on where we are and what we had asked in the past and what's happened in the meantime.
Is the gentleman
Mr.
here?
Davis here?
Yes, Mr. Davis is here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Davis, would you come up front? And I'm sorry, I believe I do have one from Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, would you come up front?
He certainly should be afforded the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, when Dorothy gets through, let's let Mr. Davis speak, and then Mr. Davis, didn't I have a slip from you? Did you sign a slip? Did you sign a slip? Well, that's okay then. You're gonna be able to speak anyway.
Thank you, Council. As an overview to this case, 305 Meadowbrook Drive, on November the 10th, 2014, this case was heard and it was voted that the case would be postponed, granting to give the owner an opportunity to improve the property and do the following: to provide the Director of Property Standards with a signed contract and receipt of deposit to have the property located at 305 Meadowbrook demolished. This letter must be provided by November the 21st. On November the 21st, Mr. Tommy Davis did come to my office and he did bring a proposal. The proposal was unacceptable. We did have a conversation and he did appear on the 24th. At that time, pictures were shown and we did hear his opinions of what he was trying to do. I asked him for another proposal. Mr. Watson of M.L. Watson Construction Company did get with Mr. Davis, and he did a proposal for all the things that Property Standards wanted to have done. That was the roofing, the decking, the removal of all rotten wood. That was to include painting, and he was to pay half of this down. Mr. Watson's total cost was $17,630. The work could start on November the 30th and should be finished by 12/23. In speaking to Mr. Watson today, Mr. Tommy Davis refused to sign the agreement. No work has been done. As of 8:52 this morning, he had removed some things from Meadowbrook and moved them to Captain Shreve, washers and dryers and things. The machine was out on the driveway on Oracle, and he moved some things out to Captain Shreve. As of today, we don't have a contract, and I would ask that we would proceed with demolition.
Mr. Davis, I'll certainly give you an opportunity to speak at this point.
I was just given this contract at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I met him at Lowe's, he handed it to me, and I got back in my car and he got back in his truck. There was no mention about signing any contract. He just told me what the price was. He told me it's gone from holes in the roof over the non-living area to complete roof over the living area, which the shingles are not damaged, to some fascia boards, which we didn't talk about to start with. And now it's remodeling the whole house, painting the whole house, and it's just redoing the whole house. It's gone from $3,850 up to $17,630. I didn't get a chance to get any bids on the painting. I did get bids on the roofing, and my brother
who is gonna loan me the money to do the work on the house, told me to go and get the best price, to shop around. I got 24 estimates, and Mr. Watson was the lowest on the back part of the house where the damage is to, and he was $3,850, and Mr. Brown was the lowest on the undamaged part of the roof, and he was 37. What was he? 37.15, and then he also gave me a bid on the little porch over the front entranceway where it has a rubber coating, or where right now it has a gravel and tar roof.
Is that where the tarp is, over that part of it?
I beg your pardon?
Is that where the tarp is, over the top of it?
No, that's over the storage room in the back. There's no ceiling. It's not even a finished room back there. It's just an unfinished room back there where storage is. There's no ceiling or anything back there.
Okay, and how are you coming on the Cara Primus part of the problem?
Okay, I haul off the trailer with all the junk, and the washers and dryers, they go back down to this friend of mine's camp. And he's gonna pick them up and take them down there in his pickup truck.
Right, see, they're not stacked in the driveway of another one of your houses?
Yeah, I took them over to the other house over there and to get them out of the way over there where they were.
But I mean, don't you think that same problem now exists at the other house?
Well, no, because all this stuff has to be removed from Meadowbrook so they can get back there and start their work back there. I have to start removing stuff back there so they can get back there and start their work.
What about the cars back there?
I have to remove those, yeah. I have somebody that's gonna help me remove those. I have my nephews that came in on Thanksgiving break. They got here Saturday, and they're gonna help me clean up the premises now and move the cars over the Thanksgiving holidays.
This, as we discussed last time, this issue's been going on literally for years. Now, Jim Holt says 18 years. I cannot attest to that. I can only attest to the 4 that I'm aware of. And, from my perspective, he really refuses to make the necessary minimum adjustments to either the building or the backyard or the house, and has continued to play this, I'll call it, somewhat of a shell game between some of the issues. So I'm going to make a motion to uphold property standards recommendation for the demolition. I think we've given them every opportunity. You have a chance here to work on the Cara Primus, or you're going to lose those as well. And you can have this is a demolition on the property. If you get in there and can get all the rest of the stuff with your nephews or whatever out of there, then good for you. If you can't, they're going to be removed with everything else when the demolition occurs. You also have the opportunity naturally to appeal this.
It has been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Sam Jenkins, to uphold the ruling of the Property Standards Board. Now, Mr. Davis, before I ask him to vote, I'm going to ask you if you have one more thing, and do you understand what the motion was?
Yeah, but I don't understand why I can't get one person to do the front half, one person to do the back half, and a carpenter to do the wood part. Well, he's actually not a carpenter, he's a handyman. He charges $25 an hour. He could not give me an estimate because he does the work by the hour. I can afford to get that done, and it will get done, and the house will be in first-class shape. But I can't come up with $17,630 today. I mean, I was just given this at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Right.
I don't think you were giving yours.
Mr. Davis, what I understand is that they've been giving you about 18 years?
No, that all...
Let's say at least 4 years.
That all started about my cars. I had cars parked in the driveway, and the neighbors didn't want them parked in the driveway, so I just moved them from one house to the other and moved them, because they all ran. There wasn't any of them that were disabled or anything, and that's where Jim Holt and I got into it about those cars. Scott Keegan said he was gonna go to the council and make a resolution that you can't park 4 cars in one driveway.
I'm gonna ask the council to vote at this particular point, and, we have a 7-0 vote. Ms. Dorothy, I'm gonna ask you to, explain to Mr. Davis, not here, maybe out in your office or wherever, what that was, and, I would hope, the action would start very soon. Mr. Davis, we appreciate you coming down. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna ask, for a motion so we can go back into our regular session.
So move.
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins. Was that a second from you, Ms. McCullough?
Yes, sir.
A second from Ms. McCullough that we would go back into our regular session.
Mr. Everson, Mr. Shine, and Ms. McCullough.
Okay. It's a 7-0 vote that we would go back into our regular session. Mr. Mayor, we're back with you at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As usual, we thank all those folks who are here in person, as well as those who are watching by cable and Ustream for coming out and engaging and being a part of the democratic process. Want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Hope that you'll have a chance to be able to enjoy the spirit of the season. I know that we've got some exciting things that are happening throughout the area. Coming up, I believe a week from today will be World AIDS Day, that will be celebrated, I believe, on Sunday, as well as Monday of next week. They will be bringing portions of the AIDS quilt to the area, and we want to encourage folks from throughout the community to go out, engage, and be a part of those activities. We also see here in the audience with us Liz Swain, Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. She has some information that she shared with the council that is also a part of something that we will be recognizing from the mayor's office as well, and that's Small Business Day on November the 29th. The City of Shreveport and the Downtown Development Authority has a particular take on that effort that involves the scavenger hunt in the DDA area. Also want to take a point to make sure, and I don't see her at this point, Bishop. I know she was sitting in between you and Liz, but I saw my state representative, Barbara Norton, who was here. She got a call from the governor, had to step out. I guess she's working on.
Was it the governor or was it the president? Was it Barack Obama?
It may have been the president, but I know the governor calls her on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, I know Barack usually calls her for consultation.
He's been trying to get her to sign a change card and come over to the Republican Party, but she told him that she'd give him an ear, but not a signature.
Oh, well.
So
I thought maybe she was going to give a signature.
No, I think she's working on trying to get us some additional transportation dollars up this way, since she serves on the House Transportation Committee, and in particular has an ear out for exactly how this whole Lake Street effort is going to go, and will probably be one of the folks who will help ride herd over the Secretary of Transportation down in Baton Rouge, Secretary LaBarre, to make sure Thing-Hung Council ends up moving on this effort, that it ends up being done in an effective and timely fashion.
We need that because I was hoping, Jeff, what are we going to do about the Holiday Inn, about the Lake Street?
Well, I think we've had some productive meetings on it, and I think that it's probably ready to move forward. I mean,
Today? That's great.
I mean, the business leaders came and the Holiday Inn folks came together, and I think we came up with a plan that largely satisfied everyone. And
that's great, because I'd hate to hold the Holiday Inn up people any further, because they're losing money, and I'm an old poor boy, but I'd hate to see anybody lose money.
Well, I know we circulated the last version of the changes to the legislation, I believe, about 3 o'clock on last Friday afternoon. The council should
update this morning as well.
Okay, so you should have an updated version that's available.
Are you ready, Mayor, to move on it?
We are prepared to move, Mr. Chairman, but now, again, this is one of those things that we wanted to move when everyone's happy, because I don't want anybody feeling as if we have been less and open and receptive and willing to have an ear. But this is an outstanding example of the democratic process at work.
Right, but you know, I once I tried to wait until everybody got happy before I moved on something, and you know what? We never moved on it. So sometimes you have to move when if it's, I think it's a great idea. So I think we're ready to move on.
Well, we know that we don't know the key to success, but we do know the key to failure is trying to please everybody.
That's what I'm saying. You know, if you do that, you never move.
Exactly. So I think this has been an outstanding process. We had one public hearing, 2 follow-up meetings that have all been extremely productive and constructive. All of the various interests have come to the table, and their ideas that went back and forth. And in fact, Mr. Chairman, to the group's credit, we had some provisions in our version of how we wanted to proceed that were a little bit more onerous, and even some of the folks that we thought would have been some of the objectives in this situation. And so they had to pull us back from being a little bit too onerous in our efforts. So we have balanced out and come to, I think, a very happy median in this situation.
I think you're right, Mr. Mayor. So I think we'll be ready to move.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we've recognized our 2 former members who were here, Monty Walford and James Green, respective representatives of District B and F. We also have recognized the council member-elect who's here, sitting with you all on the dais. Would be less than appropriate if I did not recognize the representative from Senator Mary Landrieu's office who's here with us as well, Tari Bradford, who is here today in her civic capacity as a member of the board of the Shreveport-Bossier Convention and Visitors Bureau, but we want to acknowledge her presence. And again, we wish all a happy Thanksgiving. We want to encourage everyone to come out and be a part of Small Business Day. For Shreveport, and especially Liz, at some point, if you want to come up and share a few more details about this. And then lastly, Mr. Chairman, one of the things that has been one of the things I've been most proud of is the fact that Dale and department heads came to me several years ago and said that the cultivation of leadership is something that needs to be focused on more by the city of Shreveport. We've got lots of folks who have come up through the ranks, people like Jim Hope, who served for decades and what have you, and who were moving towards retirement, and that we needed to begin to better prepare those folks who are coming behind them to step in and take on the mantle of leadership for the city of Shreveport. And one of the things that would be key to that would be taking those folks out of their particular silo that they work in within the city of Shreveport, whether that's streets and drainage, water and sewer, finance, or what have you, and allowing them to be exposed and educated on the entirety of the city of Shreveport's operation, so they could see how all of the pieces work together towards the collective goal of serving our citizens. And so Angelita Jackson decided, instead of just continuing to be known as the personnel department, that we were going to become the human resource department, because that was the most important asset that we have as a city, the collective individuals who work for us. And one of the ideas that she came forward with was the idea of our Leadership Academy. I'm going to ask Angelita to step forward today and share with you a few brief words about that, as well as introduce to you all folks who I have no doubt that you thought they were here to demand a yes vote for the $1,000 lump sum that's on the agenda today, in addition to being here for that purpose, no doubt. And I'm sure they also want to see that 6% merit pay increase passed as well, but that's not up for a vote today. But they're here today as a part of the curriculum for the Shreveport Employees Leadership Academy. One of the things that they do is attend one of the City Council's regular sessions, and for this particular group, which will graduate on this coming Monday,
Thursday, December 4th.
December 4th. And will graduate on December 4th. One of their final assignments is to come and Mr. Shine endure a session of the Shreveport City Council.
Ms. Angelina, I know you work for the mayor, but please cut it kind of short, because B is going to have to get these minutes in the paper in order to meet some deadlines, and we don't want to have to fly back from Hawaii in order to get this done. So if you could kind of keep it a little bit.
I'm very brief. I want to at least come and introduce to you our fall 2014 Leadership Academy. I want them to stand. Please stand, you all. Stand. This will be our 7th class that we graduate through the academy. We've graduated about 250 employees thus far. And we go through a series of classes from customer service, decision-making, effective customer service, decision-making, business writing, rules and regulations, budgeting, the full gamut. We cover everything as far as what an effective leader needs to be here within the city, but also to provide a better service to the city of Shreveport as well. Our facilitator is Kathleen Myers. She wave in the corner over there. And Kathleen spends a lot of time hosting and catering to these folks' every need. They're represented throughout the city, water, public works. We're glad to have the library with us this year as well. So they've done a great job. It's an extraordinary group of folks, and they're well prepared to take the challenge to become our next leaders within the city of Shreveport. And I want to say thank you for your time, and thank you, Mayor, Mr. Sibley, for your support. And we'll continue to go on and create great leaders within the city, what the city deserves. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, thank you. Now, that was really to the point.
Mr. Chairman, absolutely acutely aware of the need to keep this meeting brief so we can be easy on the council staff and getting these meetings done.
Right.
But as I also learned from you, that's one thing that's very important, is that these minutes are held in perpetuity. And so I would be less than the mayor I've tried to be if I did not afford these young folks the opportunity to come up and give us their name and the department they work for.
Just
so
tell
that
her.
we can enter those into the
Would y'all
minutes,
come on up?
and it will be
Would
a
y'all come on
permanent
up,
part
please?
of the records of the city of Shreveport.
Would y'all,
As I heard you once say,
while they
Mr.
on their way up,
Shine, their grandkids can come down here one day and see that they were official part of the Shreveport City Council meeting.
Please come up. And one thing you left out about Miss Tara Bradford, the most important thing was that she grew up in my neighborhood.
I thought you were going to say she was my cousin, Mr. Shine.
Well,
We can just say their names and department where they work and how long they've been with the city. We had impromptu speeching as well, so this is our good exercise to extend ourselves.
Please.
Good afternoon, I'm Carolyn Whaley. I'm an inspector for property standards in the District G area, and I have been with the city of Shreveport for 26 years.
Wow, congratulations. Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Snellgrove, and I'm with the Property Standards Department, and I've been employed with the city for almost 4 years.
Beautiful. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Colleen Hall, and for those of you on the council who got your invitation, please let me know if you're coming to the banquet next week, okay? I'm with HR.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Tamika Matthews, and I've been with the city for 2 years, and I work in human resources.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks. Next.
Hello, I'm Lisa Hayes, and I'm with Property Standards. I'm a Property Standards Inspector, and I've been with the city almost 4 years.
Thanks. Next.
Hello, my name is Charles Anderson. I've been working with the city of Shreveport for 26 years, and I've been sewer lift. I'm a maintenance mechanic 3.
Congratulations. Next.
Lauren Metzger. I've been with the city for 6 years. I'm at Shreve Memorial Library.
Thanks. Great.
Randall Burr. I'm with the city sanitation department, 17 years.
Thanks, Randall. And Randall is my friend, Mr. Mayor.
Good afternoon, I'm Tanisha Tisby. I work at the police station. I've been with the city for 10 years.
Thanks, great, congratulations.
Hello, I'm Rose Davis, and the branch manager of Moortown Branch Library. I've been
Wonderful.
with the city for 11 years.
We're going to put in a raise for you then. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Dolores Baker. I'm with SPAR, and I've been with the city for 18 years.
Dolores, you look too young to tell me you've been with the city for 18 years.
Why,
Congratulations.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
I love Dolores.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Myers, Human Resources, almost 2 years now.
Great, congratulations.
I want to just make sure to extend you all an invitation to come if you can to the graduation. They've put a lot of effort into this on December the 4th, 6:30 at Northwest Louisiana Technical College. So try to come. You should have invitations in the mail as well, but look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Angelina. Ms. Shine, those 2 dates, the employee banquet for all of our employees, 30 years, 25, and what have you, is next Tuesday. Graduation for our Leadership Academy is next Thursday. We'll get specific information up to the council. Always welcome any of you all who can make it.
We'll be there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'd like to recognize representatives from Newquest Properties that are here today to make a brief presentation, and they'll be talking about zoning case C-6214 on our agenda.
Please come up.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Mayor, and the rest of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you. I'm going to put up my presentation. You all have a hard copy in front of you. show up. Okay, we're having a little technical difficulty.
Charles, Connie, someone from in back, come give us a hand if you can. We'll get you a little technical assistance here in a second.
There we go. 1 second.
I asked that question. Were you here when I asked?
All right. It should come up.
They're going to pay the city that much more money. To lay off employees and kind of.
Work session.
The old-fashioned way?
I'm good with the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
No closure.
Just as long as you have these documents printed here in Shreveport and didn't import them from Texas.
I'm sorry, I did print them here in Texas. I apologize for that.
It's been a nice investment for a small business here for you to
Yes.
print these type of things here in Shreveport.
And this is not the first round of printings.
Okay, keep that in mind.
I can tell you that. While we're getting started, I said this at the beginning of the MPC meeting, and I'll say it again. I'm probably the only person here that woke up excited to come before you guys today, because we have been working for over 18 months on this project. We have worked with 3 different planning directors. The most recent is here with us today, Mark Sweeney, and this is site plan number 54 for this development. So it's been going on a good while, and we've gotten tremendous input from the city staff, as well as all of the planning directors and from the community. We about ready?
You can put
Nope.
it on the document camera, ma'am.
Why don't we just do this? If we can turn this
It's right up here.
on. All right.
Oh, you got something,
This
Connie?
is the backup plan for the backup plan.
She's got, oh, there we go.
Got that?
Connie.
If we can get rid of the writing on the screen.
The menu. Thank you.
All right. So this project is at the corner of Ellerby and East Florno Lucas, and it's on the YMCA Camp Forbing property. And what you see here is a view from the corner looking into the proposed shopping center. And I'll take you through a few more views of this quickly. I know time is short. But this is looking up into the center, and what you'll notice in the forefront of the picture, and it's in your book on page 5, you'll see that this is actually an enhancement that Mark Sweeney brought to us on his first day on the job. We met with him, and he gave us the next round of feedback for our plan, and this was a pretty good element of feedback. This is a detention area that he asked us to move forward to the corner. And what we did was research and find a way to do a more natural detention area. This is one of 2 on the property, and I'll show you the second one in a moment. But it gives a real natural feel from that corner. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this area, this would be across from the CVS that's already there existing on the corner. If we move to the next page, which is page 6 in your package, you see here another view of the property, and this is from the entrance at the proposed light. And here's where you really get a sense of the quality of the development and the cohesiveness. And when you reflect on the master plan that you all had prepared, I think that this is where you start to see the introduction from your staff and all of the feedback that they've given us in creating a real community center for this area of town. You see on the right-hand side of the picture the new proposed YMCA building, and then on the left side of the paper you see the inline shopping space and restaurants. It all fronts the second detention area, and what you see in this detention area is it's a wet bottom detention area. That's unique for a development of this size, a grocery anchored development, and it really creates a cohesive element to the overall development. We would anticipate, certainly with the input from the Y, but I think they're in agreement to take full advantage of the water feature and then have restaurants facing the water area on the other side as part of the retail development. And you see the architecture and the quality that we're proposing, as well as the natural landscaping. And I know there were a number of members of the MPC board who approved this in our last hearing, and they were very concerned with the quality of landscaping and keeping it as natural as possible, and that's our hope here. On the next page, which is page 7 in your packet, is a view of the bus stop. One of the pieces of feedback that we got from Mr. Westerman when we first started this process was to how to incorporate public transportation within the development. And so we agreed to have a public bus stop within the interior of the property, and I'll show you where that's located in a moment. But what you also see consistent with your master plan is interior sidewalk areas and pedestrian lighting. So you will be able to walk anywhere within the development with pedestrian lighting and sidewalks. So we think that that makes the overall development more consistent with your master plan, and again, that was feedback from your city staff. If we keep going in your package, you can see the quality of the construction and development. You probably can't see it as well in the audience, but incorporates a number of different building materials, so it makes it visually interesting and not your stereotypical long stretch of shop space. You see it broken up with different elements, stone, brick, some wood as well. So, and those buildings in particular are the buildings planned to face the water feature that I showed you on the last slide. I'll take you to probably the most important page in your book, and this is the site plan that introduces all of the different elements of use. So you see recreational area with the YMCA. You see the grocery, proposed grocery here, this larger building, and then you see along the sidewalk area, and it's highlighted in red, all in the interior, and we've made the effort to move as much of the retail, restaurants, and proposed office space up close to the sidewalk system to make it friendly to those pedestrians that are going to walk around the interior of the development. So overall, I think the plan incorporates a great deal of feedback from the community. We had a neighborhood meeting and had support. We had over 100 people show up for that meeting and got very favorable support, and we did get unanimous approval before the MPC in our meeting recently. So we've worked hard to incorporate as much feedback as we can, and I'd love to answer any of your questions.
Any questions at this time?
The grocery vendor's been named?
It has not been named.
Okay.
We still need to work through this process to get them to let me release their name.
Okay.
Councilman Shine.
Yes.
So the record would reflect that in meeting with her, I need District 8 to know that I did entertain the idea of this coming north of Shreveport in the near future.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? I'm serious.
Any more questions? If not, I think it's a tremendous enhancement to the city of Shreveport, and it's really needed out in that area, because I don't think at this point they have that type of development out in that area. It would be an enhancement.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions? If not, Mike?
Appreciate your support. Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes.
Catherine, before you go, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to you and the entirety of the New Quest team for coming to Shreveport and bringing this opportunity to us. I've also got to say thank you to the members of the MPC staff. As you mentioned, you all started this effort with Charles as he was on his way towards retirement. You dealt in the interim with Stephen Jean, who was the interim director, and then the very first appointment, Mr. Chairman and council members, that Mark Sweeney had on his very first date was to sit down and meet with these folks to pick this project up, to carry it forward so we could get it done. And
he did an excellent job.
Outstanding job. And then also, Mr. Shine, you've got to give credit to the members of the Industrial Development Board for the contributions that they've made to help make this possible. And then also express thanks to the council representative for the area, Councilman Corbin, for proactively engaging his constituency to put us in a position to be able to engage those folks in a posture to where they were getting information up front as opposed to having to just simply react. And then obviously, Gary and his folks at the YMCA were the ones who have the land and who will also be greatly enriched by the brand new facility that they will get. The city staff with Robert Westman, the city engineer's office, working with Jim Hoyer with the State Department of Transportation, helping to facilitate new traffic lights being put in place and other things that are unusual for the city. And what it also will ultimately give us is that commercial plan use development option that we've never had before for the city of Shreveport. And so again, something that will be extremely new and beneficial and hopefully will represent the template for once I-49 is complete and will join in at MLK, North Market, and I-220 for us to talk to the New Quest folks and the new mayor and the councilwoman in her next term about bringing something similar to this to the north side of Shreveport. So thank you to all involved.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you again for picking one of the best attorneys, Charles Grubb there. Besides Sam Jenkins over there, you couldn't have made a better selection.
Absolutely.
Well, I agree.
All right. And I couldn't recommend Sam, but Sam is on the council at this time.
My dad didn't raise a dummy.
But now, Sam, when they get ready to do the building up in the northern part, then you'll be off the council then, and
prime candidate.
considered. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, while I can't reveal the details, once all of this is done and final, there will be a little ceremony up in the second floor conference room that will feature one Catherine as the focus of an interesting feat that all should come and watch.
Well, Catherine, now we hope that you'll talk to the new mayor that's coming in, because on the second floor in a few weeks it will not be Cedric Love, and you will not see some of these council members on the fourth floor. So make sure you make that connection here. All right, we need you. Thank you.
Fortunately for us, Mr. Shine, that will occur prior to the 27th, not after.
Oh, well, great then. That would be great. I'd like to call Mr. Sonny Moss and his colleagues up, since we're at the process of making presentation.
I'll get you a practice.
Sam, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had some questions about some street closures, Phoenix Street and James Street. I don't think James Street is an issue. I'm pretty satisfied with what we see there. But Phoenix Street, I did have some questions about. I just want the council to know that I did have an opportunity to meet with Mr. Moss, and he's furnished everybody with some information. I'm a little bit more satisfied in my mind, but I just think from the council perspective and the public perspective, if you can share to the extent that you can what you're planning to do and why the street needs to be closed, that would be helpful.
Thank you. I failed to keep a copy of the elevations that I distributed. Do you also have anything to put up on the...
Before Sonny goes into this, why don't everybody look at the copy in front of you?
We are in the process at Willis-Knighton of developing additional parking for the Willis-Knighton North Campus, which I'm sure if most of you have been around the North Campus, it's a very busy place. That's hindered our ability also to do some expansion that we foresee in the future. I would like to say that you have seen some of our competitors elect to relocate some of their facilities to other parts of town, and Willis-Knighton has a very strong commitment to our North Campus. We feel like the North Campus has been very good to us, and we feel like we've been good to the neighborhood in being located there. So this parking garage that we're proposing on this site will give us the capacity to eventually do some, hopefully in the very near future, do some additional expansion and expand some services on that campus. We still feel like that's our flagship campus and that it will continue to grow. And parking obviously is an issue. And I don't know how to do this.
Jackie, give him a hand, please.
But what you have in front of you is a site plan of where the parking garage is located, which I believe is the issue today. To locate the parking garage where we propose to locate it will cause the closing of Pennock Street between east to west, between Missouri and Hearn Avenue. I believe the city engineers, the state people, all were basically in favor of this because if you're not that familiar with Pennock, it comes out on Hearn, just very close to the Greenwood Road Hearn entrance, and it creates a traffic problem when people try to get over and make a left turn on Greenwood Road. This is the parking garage. To orient you, this is the corner of Greenwood Road and Hearn. If you remember, the Pioneer Bank building was located right here. That has been demolished. This will be approximately 650 space parking garage, and as I'm sure as y'all know, parking garages are very expensive per space to build. But we felt like not only building the parking garage in a convenient location to our main entrance, but also making a statement for the neighborhood, which I think in this next elevation, the one you have in front of you, you will see the this is a view, again, if you're coming north on Hearn Avenue to the Greenwood Road Hearn intersection. New parking garage located over here. Entrance to our facility located over here. There will be a tower on each side of Hearn Avenue with an enclosed connector that goes across Hearn that will have an arch over it, which will be almost really visible from interstate. So it'll really be we feel like a high impact statement for Willis-Knighton and for the campus and neighborhood and really for the city. That's what we have going on. We'd appreciate you allowing us to close Pennock Street. We're planning on beginning this project immediately, so as soon as we can get the proper approvals, we will proceed. Could I answer any questions?
Mr. Chairman, as I said, initially had some questions about it, but we spent some time looking at it. Got a chance to go out and look at the area. In fact, I even talked with Councilman Everson because I believe this area is going to be coming into District B under the new redistricting that's going on. But long story short, whatever reservations I had about the area, I no longer have. I think it's going to be enhanced. My concern was whether or not there was some adequate outlets for the community, and it is. There are some other streets along there that people can get in and out, so I don't think any of the area is being adversely affected by what's being proposed. I just want to lay that out that whatever concerns I had about them are right at this particular point.
If you want to, after Councilman Oliver Jenkins, we can suspend the rules and bring that closure up and we can take care of it. And Mr. Moss, I just want to let you know that I really appreciate the improvement and the enhancement that Willis-Knighton has made in that area. Years ago, you all could have opted to move out like a lot of businesses did in Queensboro, but you decided to stay there, and it has really enhanced the property values in that area. And the work that you all have done have really improved that area, and it has enhanced Paula Street there. So we appreciate what you all are doing in that area.
We appreciate y'all's support.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones that there has not been 2 weeks since it was introduced, so
It has not. So we have to wait. Okay.
We'll be okay.
I just said, listen, I think it looks like fabulous design, great. You know, very excited about the whole idea. Just curious on how much office space, or I guess they were mostly offices, the buildings that came down or have come down. And then do you have any either additional build-out spaces that you plan kind of in the next phase once you put in the parking?
Well, the office space that was in the Pioneer Bank building, the building on the corner, that was where our business office was located, and our business office has been relocated to our Innovation Center in Bossier. Now, because of technology, electronics, or whatever, you don't have to have everybody in the same building anymore. The additional office space, if you will, medical space that will come about will be probably some additions to the hospital itself for direct patient care, which we've been fortunate that we've almost outgrown that facility. And several programs, our heart program and several of our other high-profile programs have just gone through the roof because of the quality of the surgeons we've been able to recruit. And there's a lot of synergy on that campus because of our new proton beam, which in our cancer center, which y'all may be familiar. That unit that we opened about October was the first unit in the world. And it was made for community hospitals, and so we're kind of the poster child for that, which ultimately will create synergy within our medical community for the outlying area. So we feel like we will see growth regionally with a lot of our programs, and so the office space that we will be developing will be directly attached in part of the hospital.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, looks fabulous.
Oh, yes.
It does, absolutely. And I'd like to just say, thank you for reinvesting in the area. I know that there have been other, as you mentioned, that have chosen to readjust and reallocate, and it's a shame to see that sometimes. I think a reinvestment really pays off. This hospital has a long legacy and history for people. I'm almost a patient there earlier this year in that heart department, and she's doing great, and I'm very thankful for the care she received. But did want to also ask just a couple other questions in the kind of more long-run thinking. Oliver sort of touched on this, and I think you've answered this, but this is going to, does this free up some of that parking that's on the north of the building now for future expansion and development? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, our issue on the north part of the building is we own a good bit of land on the north side of the hospital, but as you start getting further away from the, for parking, for visitors or whatever, obviously that becomes a problem. Yeah. And then, like you say, if we can free up some of the parking directly around the hospital on that side, then we can build a facility that will be attached to the hospital. Probably our plans will come to fruition using the, if you're familiar where our day surgery entrance is off of Albert Bicknell Drive, behind it is a parking lot that serves that day surgery, so it's just right north of the hospital. And some of the options we're looking at right now, which I think are pretty solid, will be to go up there with additional structure, hospital structure, but leave the parking underneath, so you really don't lose any parking in that regard. So I think what you'll see is all the parking that's there now will remain. There's parking over in some of this area where we're putting the parking garage, but it will be expanded around the parking garage itself. So we feel like this anchors our from a legal standpoint and customer service standpoint, this will be the first phase that will anchor our parking issues for the foreseeable future on our campus.
And then the other, and this is more of not a question I need an answer to, but just wanted to make sure that, we're doing that streetscape design around around University Health and LSU-HSC and the crime lab and some of that area over there, meant to be kind of a first phase of a build-out that creates kind of a medical corridor streetscaping look. And just wanted to make sure that y'all had been kind of briefed and aware of kind of the look and design of that, because
correct.
Something as we all move forward, we want to consider.
I've been involved with several meetings with John Daly, who is, I believe, no longer with the group, but he's kept us involved with meetings that have been had and the architectural designs or whatever. So we've talked for years about the triangle there, and developing and tying it together. So this really is kind of a working on the west side, hopefully going toward the east side of that project.
Together, yeah.
And meet in the middle.
I just wanted to make sure that if y'all need more information.
Yes, sir. We have been involved with the talks and the site plans over at the LSU University Hospital campus.
Great.
I think it'll be great because if you go down to Houston, you can tell the health community system is all kind of tied in together then. And Sam, this was Willis Knighton used to be in my district for years. And I was so glad that it didn't fall out of Queensboro, and that was when we had that flight.
Well, this is just another statement that we're not going anywhere.
That's right. And Sonny, we appreciate it now. Did I understand that we could not vote on this today?
can't vote?
Number 151, 152, and 153 had been postponed,
Right.
so there was an extra 2 weeks in there, or they were introduced on November 11th.
Sam, you want to suspend the rules and bring it up, and Sonny, we can take care of you all right now?
So move to suspend the rules.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins to suspend the rules and second by Councilman Rose McCullough.
Sam 151, must be at the bottom
It's
of
been moved by 7-0 vote.
Mr. Oliver Jenkins, Mr. Sam Jenkins,
152.
Yeah. I want to take up number,
I need you to vote right
Still need
now.
to click.
well, I haven't
Yeah,
had
get your
it.
vote.
It's only one.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by the chair, that we would bring up 150, what is it, Sam, 150?
152.
152,
We can bring up 153 also.
152 and 153 at this particular time.
So move on
Bring it up, okay.
on number
Yeah.
152 and 153.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, you want to read it?
152 will close and abandon Pinnock Street and an adjacent diagonal alley between Hearn Avenue and Missouri Avenue in the Queensboro Annex in Section 10, Township 17 North, Range 14 West.
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by the chair. All in favor, vote yes. I'm sorry, okay. Yes, vote 7-0, yes vote.
So move on number 153 also.
Been moved and by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by the chair. Let's vote, please.
That one is for James Street.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Read it.
it's been passed by 7-0 vote. Mr. Moss, you can go back and have your cup of coffee.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
council members, Sonny, before you leave, just want to add my voice to those that have already expressed appreciation for you all's commitment to continue to invest into the core of the city of Shreveport. This is a very welcome development, very much welcomed investment. Also looking forward to having a chance to please pass along to Dr. Rosen. Looking forward to having a chance to come over and have a chance to take a look at that $40+ million investment, as I understand it.
It's something else.
Into that new cancer treatment center. And also, just as an added note, one of the worst streets you can drive on in Shreveport is Kings Highway, as it runs right along that new $40+ million investment. I'm hoping real soon we'll have some good news about some money coming to help repair that bumpy road you drive on as you come from east to west, heading towards Hearn Avenue, right there on Kings Highway, in front of that new $40 million investment.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Moss, before you go,
Mr. Moss, just 1 minute, just 1 minute. They gave me some wrong information.
Chairman, I'll explain.
Okay.
Malcolm and B steered me wrong. They were.
Blaming is always the first course of defense.
Where is the bus?
I will always admit when I'm wrong, but math is not my strong point. These were introduced on November 11th, and Malcolm was thinking normally there would have been 2 weeks, but since this is Monday instead of Tuesday, there's not 2 weeks between the meetings.
Missed it by 1 day.
Right, and I should have realized that when we were discussing it, but so to technically be correct, you probably need to reconsider that vote and then postpone it until December 9th.
So move to reconsider the vote and postpone until November the 9th. Hold up on that cup of coffee, Mr. Moss.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Sonny, appreciate it. And Sonny, I want to see you 1 minute just before you leave. Let me carry this to. It has been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilwoman McCullough, that we would reconsider the legislative vote that we just got through with. Could we get
Postpone to November the 9th.
and postpone until November 9th. Vote on that, please.
I mean, December.
Those tire tracks.
It's been it's been moved with a 7-0 vote.
6-1, Mr. Chairman.
Six.
Jeff, you better take those.
Approved with a 6-0 vote.
Yeah.
Okay, now do we need a motion to go back into the regular session?
So move, Mr.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, Stacy Brown is here. She'd like to make a presentation on the program of work for the Tourist Bureau.
Yes, please come up, Stacy.
Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon.
Chairman Shine, whichever, he's over to the side. Mayor Glover, appreciate y'all allowing me to come before you today, and I know I'm kind of standing between you and your turkey, so I'll make it a little bit quick. but don't hesitate to ask me any questions if you have them. First, I would like to say a special thank you to Tari Bradford for coming with me today. She is your appointee on the Shreveport-Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau Board, and we greatly appreciate her service. She's been a great advocate for us and worked with us in many ways. Before you today, I have a copy of our 2015 budget. I apologize, the business plan is not back from the printer, but you will be receiving that probably next week when you get back from the holidays. At the Bureau, we have a true passion for what we do and a sincere desire to grow tourism in Caddo and Bossier parishes. And one of the things we want to do is work not only hard, but work smart. So we work each year with different people in research as well as others in the hospitality and tourism industry to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do to properly promote Shreveport and Bossier and provide that great return on investment. So we worked with Berkeley Young, with Young Strategies, over the last year and a half to do several research studies for us. One of them is with the hotels directly to look at exactly who is staying in their hotels. And so we can track those market segments and who is staying, where they're coming from, how long they're staying. So that research is done every 2 years. So you can tell from 2010, when we had the peak of the oil and gas industry in, to 2012, there was quite a shift there. We'll conduct that survey again for 2014 to look and see how those market segments have changed. The second one was visitor research, to really talk to those people who've come to Shreveport-Bossier, see why they came, how long they stayed, what money did they spend, what did they do while they were here, what are the things that they liked, and what are the things that they saw where we needed improvement. One of the things about our community is people love Shreveport-Bossier. They love the warm welcome they receive from our people, the hospitality that's given. One of the words I heard today was, we are genuine. We're not just friendly, we're genuinely friendly. And so people want to come back. We have one of the highest repeat visitation rates in the country. So one of the things we do is try to bring in people that will have that multiplier effect. So by bringing in travel writers, meeting planners, tour operators, we can get those people to come in, but then to also bring their meeting, their bus group, write about us in a magazine or other publication to bring in more people to Shreveport-Bossier. One of the things we focused on this last year was, of course, the Sports Commission. That opportunity has continued to grow, and we appreciate your support that you've provided with that, and want to thank Patrick Wesley, and I thought I saw him earlier, on behalf of Shelley Regal with Stone on the board. He has been a very big help, as well as Marquis Pierre as your appointee on the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission board. We've seen some great successes this year with that, one of those being just a few weeks ago, the NBA preseason game of the New Orleans Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks. We had more than 10,000 people in the CenturyLink Center, which I know a lot of naysayers say that really can't be done. That this is not a sports town, and that's just not true. It really is a sports town, and I think we've proven that time and time again. But also with some of the great successes coming up in, I think, 2 weekends, we have the Louisiana High School Coaches Association All-Star Football Game. They were here last year for their first time, had a great experience despite the rain, which precluded them from playing the entire time. They were only able to, I think, play one complete quarter. But they had such a great experience in our community that they're coming back again this year. So if you have the opportunity to go out to that game, you definitely don't want to miss it. This year we've also expanded our work with the Shreveport Convention Center and the Hilton. Last year at the end of the year we hosted Rendezvous South, which was our own meeting planners marketplace. We brought a select group of meeting planners into our market. They attended conferences at the Shreveport Convention Center and the Hilton and had the opportunity to see more of our area and bring meetings back to Shreveport-Bossier. Let me tell you, if you have not been into the Convention Center when it's decorated in that way, you definitely want to come back. Sam Wazan and his team put on a first-rate experience for these planners. You would not know that you were in a convention center. They brought in decorations. You would think you were walking down Bourbon Street in Mardi Gras. It was really fantastic. We had floats. A number of their Mardi Gras crews came out, and it was a great experience. So some of those meeting planners are bringing meetings back to Shreveport-Bossier. We were also just successful. As I just left the office, Diana pulled me over and said, we won The Nursing Organization Alliance, which normally hosts their meetings only in first-tier cities. In fact, Palm Springs is where they're going to next year. We'll be hosting their 2017 meeting right here in Shreveport-Bossier. So we're really excited to have that opportunity to host a great medical conference with top-rate nurses coming in from across the country, but also the opportunity to host other medical conferences as well. The CenturyLink Center is another big possibility for us in hosting other sporting events, and we look forward to working with them and with SMG and their combination of the Shreveport Convention Center and the CenturyLink. Also, as you know, we've just opened this year the Municipal Auditorium, and the successes there have been tremendous. Not only have we worked with them with meetings and events that love to have their off-site meetings there, but also they have been very successful on the events entertainment side. That has posed a little bit of a challenge as we prepare to open it up for more group tours, but that's a great problem to have with more people booking that venue. Some of the other conferences we've hosted this year, the South Central Motor Coach and the North American Motor Coach Association. Those are bus group operator conferences. And next year we will be hosting the Travel South Conference. It's the third largest travel trade industry trade show. So they are coming here to Shreveport-Bossier. We'll have about 150 tour operators and media that plan meetings and events in the South. So they will be bringing one or more bus groups back in the future. So we're excited about hosting them as well. As we recognize in our relationship with the community, one of the things that's very important to us is developing our community and providing those great experiences that people are looking for. You know, it used to be you'd go to a museum and you'd look at their displays and you'd kind of ooh and ah and you'd move on. Well, nowadays you want to interact with those displays. You want to have an experience that not everybody else is getting to experience. You want to go back of house. You want to do something special with your hands. So we are working with 5 special attractions here in Shreveport-Bossier this year to really craft an experience for the future. One of those is working with SPAR on the Red River District and looking at ways that we can bring more clients down to that. Obviously, we've got some businesses in there, and we want to grow those businesses and add more. And one way to do that is by having people in that district coming to shop and eat. So that working with them, we've been able to craft some new experiences along with the Spirit of the Red River Cruise and the Red River Waterway Visitor Center there. And so we're looking forward to bringing bus groups to this market and especially to see the Red River District. So Mayor, we appreciate your help on that. Shelley has been very instrumental, as well as Catherine and Marissa, in providing that experience. We are very strong believers in partnerships, and in our partnership with the city is very important to us. Another one of those is the Boomer Bus Byway. It goes through Caddo, Bossier, Webster, and Claiborne parishes. And we are currently working on a new signage program that will encourage people to get a little bit off of the byway, which in Caddo Parish is Highway 3049 going down 71 and Highway 1 up to Highway 2, and then crosses over into Claiborne Parish. So while we had the signage consultants in town, I said, you know, Liz, why don't you come on over, meet them? We'd love to see some more things done downtown and be able to direct people more. And she said, actually, the timing is perfect. We've got an immediate need, looking at Lake Street closing, so we were all, able to take advantage of them being in town and showing them some of those changes that might be occurring and how we could offset that with some possible signage to redirect people to those other opportunities and make sure they don't miss out on business as well. In the budget before you, one of the major changes you see is due to our larger increasing role in the sports market. We have changed our departments around a little bit, and we now, instead of sports and tourism, we have one department focused solely on sports. And we're moving the tourism department in with conventions, and that'll be a sales department. So that's one of the major changes you see there. This year we have turned the tide in 2013 in about October, so we've had a year of steady increases, not only with business clients, with meetings, but also in the sports area, as well as group tour. So we've seen good growth. This year we expect our income to actually be up about 10.9%, and we do expect next year to continue either flat or up just a little bit over what we've been able to do this year. Part of that is we've increased the number of hotel rooms significantly over the last 18 months. So it takes a little bit of time for that occupancy to catch up. but our revenue is continuing to increase. Just the occupancy will be a little bit slower coming up with that. Our expenses are up as well, as we have several major one-time projects, such as the trade shows that we talked about, Travel South. Another one is the Sports Relationship Conference. Will be the first sports rights holders conference ever held in Shreveport-Bossier. We also have coming back again in 2016, the American Softball Association Conference. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, and Chairman Shine and Council, I appreciate you having me today. Please mark on your calendar, and I'll make sure you get a special invitation to our open house on Friday, December the 5th from 11 to 2. You definitely don't want to miss out.
Any questions? Any questions? If not, we want to thank you.
Let me say one, I got one. Of everything, from your perspective, the convention, the Shreveport Convention Center, of your revenues, what would you attribute to that convention center?
Our meetings market is usually about 16% of our overall overnight visits. Now, not all of that is the convention center, but it is a major market segment for us.
So 16% of, if you were using that number, the 4.2 million number for 2015, right?
And I'm not necessarily specifically looking at 16% to 18% of our overnight rooms. So I haven't equated exactly to revenue specifically, but to overnight rooms, which then equates to revenue.
I mean.
Sorry.
I mean, okay. Okay. So of that, but okay. So using that 16%, I mean, would you say 80% is attributed to the convention?
That is where the majority of our meetings are held. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any more questions? If not, we appreciate it. Excellent report.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Farnell. Where's Ms. Farnell?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have anything for Ms. Farnell? If not, Ms. Farnell.
I noticed, excuse me, the young lady, the owner of the funeral home was here. Was it something that she was going to need from you, Ms. Farnell? Did she get to meet with you?
Well, there wasn't a decision.
That hearing got postponed.
Oh, there she is.
It was
There she is,
postponed.
Rosalind.
It was postponed until today.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Are you ready to?
Yes. Could we hear from Rosalind? I mean, could we hear the status of what's going on since she's here?
Yeah, I have some pictures here if you want me to put these down here.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
But Dorothy,
No?
no, just to check with the council, because that is a hearing set for appeal, so they may need to suspend the rules to hear it now. Isn't that set for appeal?
Was that?
One of the
Wait a minute,
regular
was this?
scheduled appeal? It wasn't? Yeah. I don't know, Julie may need to get some guidance. They wanted to hear the...
Well, hold it just a minute. Is this way you want to hear this case at, or you want it to come up on the agenda?
I just saw her walk in, and so I
Why
just
don't we
wanted-
just wait, Ms. Wilson?
I don't think it's on the agenda, Mr. Chairman. I think it initially came before us, and I think there's some question as to whether she was notified, and she was asked to come today.
Right.
But wasn't scheduled for appeal.
I don't think so.
Oliver, this is in your, is this your district?
No, it's
Let
in
them know
mine.
that.
It's in your,
Because
it's
they
in your
posted
district?
appeal.
Ms. Farnell, could we
It was
just give her-
scheduled for appeal on Friday. She was not here, so you all continued it until today.
All right, you want to bring it up now, Rose?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's bring it up now.
Can I
This-
turn this on?
Is that 1220 North Hearn?
This is about the burnt structure?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay.
She demolished the first portion of it, remember?
Yes, she demolished the first portion. This is, she has secured it. This shows that the property has been secured. although there is some trash and debris that is on the property that needs to be cleared. As you can see, right here in this area right here, you've got debris, building materials right in here that has to be removed, but the property has been secured. According to the decision of the council, on the 27th, it was voted that she would have up to 190 within, she's to start reconstruction of the building within 90 to 120 days.
The time hasn't run out on it, has it?
No,
Okay.
No, sir. She was to come back to show sufficient progress is being made relative to the demolition. That part that was supposed to have been demolished has been demolished, and she has secured the building.
So I wanted the council to be aware of that, Councilman Shine.
That's fine, but I don't think you have to come back until after the 90 days. Is that what we said?
Was it 90 or 120?
She was to begin within 90 to 120 days.
Okay.
So you're good, Rosalind?
You're a little early, Ross.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a nice Thanksgiving here.
Thank you. You all do the same.
Okay.
I mean, at least.
All right. Any more questions from Ms. Farnell? If not, Ms. Farnell, have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sibley.
Yes, sir. Revenue collection, we'll have an update at the first December meetings.
Thank you. Ms. Scott, I don't want to leave you out. I know this is not your time, but did you have anything? Okay. Mr. Sweeney?
Oh, the mayor's made his comment.
Where's Mr. Sweeney?
He stepped out.
He stepped out?
He stepped out.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, we don't have a public hearing, right?
That's correct, Mr. Shine.
Okay, adding legislation to the agenda. Do we have any from?
We have 3 items, Mr. Shine.
Okay.
One is Resolution 227. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Economic Development Corporation, Audulec Solutions LLC, in connection with the award of Economic Development Awards Program funds and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Do you want me to read all 3 of them, Mr. Shine?
Please. And
The second is Resolution 228. It's a resolution to amend Resolution Number 97 of 2012, which authorized the expenditure of citywide street improvement program funds for certain street improvement projects and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And number 3 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to dedicate Circle Drive in honor of Wilbert Alvin Williams and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, now before we can add these, I have to ask if we have anyone in the audience that have any opposition to adding the previous legislation to the agenda items. If not, do we have anybody who would speak in favor of adding the previous items to the agenda? If not, what is the pleasure of the council? It's been moved by Councilwoman McCullough.
I second adding it to the agenda, but I want some comments on number 228. We can either do it now, or we can do it a little bit later. I just want the public to understand what we're doing with Resolution 228 and the funds from the citywide street improvement
I
program.
have some questions.
Okay, can we add it and then we'll come back into that?
That'd be fine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all in favor, vote yea and nay. Let's vote at this time. The previous legislation was added to the agenda with the 7-0 vote. Now, you want some
Mr. Chairman,
information?
if someone from the city engineer's office could come up,
Robert.
just give an overview on resolution number 228. I'll say now, I don't have any objection, but I do think since we acted in a certain manner and authorized these funds to go a certain way initially, and now we're doing something a little bit differently, it'd just be good to just clear it up in the public mind what we're doing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, originally the ordinance called for the expenditure of $200,000 on Woolworth Road south of Buncombe Road to do some asphalt repairs. Because the council has authorized phase 2 of the minor arterial asphalt overlay program, that includes this same section of Woolworth Road that the $200,000 was originally going to be spent on. Now, however, it's been brought to our attention, there is a bridge on Woolworth Road approximately 300 feet south of the intersection of Burt Coons and Woolworth Road. This bridge has 15 timber piles, 9 of which are rotten. We need to replace the structure. It is coming up for reassessment here in a couple of months, but we have already proceeded towards planning replacement of this bridge. We want to reallocate the $200,000 we initially had set aside for the repairs to the road to do bridge replacement on this Woolworth Road bridge.
So basically, we'll be able to accomplish 2 things instead of 1.
That is correct, yes, sir.
So I just wanted it to be clear. I did get a call, someone that saw it on the agenda, and I didn't explain it as eloquent as you did, but I did try to explain we're going to get 2 for 1 with this process that we're about to go through now, both the bridge and the overlay of the road, whereas we were just simply going to deal with the overlay of the road. Both things need some attention, and what this resolution will do will allow us to give both some attention.
That is correct.
Ron, isn't that in your area?
It used to be.
No, it's actually in District G.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It is District G, yes, sir.
Right,
So you'll have to redo the contract?
No, ma'am, it's just a reallocation of the money that was set aside for the citywide. We had already started design of replacement of the bridge, but we were seeking funding for construction of the bridge through unfunded needs as was addressed to the mayor's office.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you, Robert.
Got redrawn.
I believe we have, we're down at public comments. Ms. Leah Swain, please. And, Mr. Dunlap, you and, get ready to come up next, and if anybody else is with you, you want to bring those, y'all want to just come up and sit on the front row? And, okay, Liz, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Liz Swain, Executive Director, Downtown Development Authority, 401 Edwards Street, Suite 205, here to talk about the Lake Street closure. And as the mayor was saying earlier in this meeting, I think what we have is probably the best of a crummy situation that's been, we've met several times, we've talked about the different options that we have. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of options. If there's going to be a railroad crossing arm there, it apparently is going to entail needing to shut that part of Lake Street down for a period of time that many people outside of government would find to be excessive. Certainly having to shut a portion of a street down for 2 years to get all the partners, the federal government, the Union Pacific Railroad, the state, and those other partners that need to come to the table would strike people as being, you know, a form of government at its worst. It's certainly not the fault of the city that it's going to take this long. It's just apparently the length of time that it takes. And so we have cobbled together this ordinance that I think, again, it meets the needs of all of those partners who are involved. Not everyone is happy, but everyone feels that it's something that they can deal with over this 2-year period of time. The one thing that I would absolutely ask the council members to do is to stay on top of this. If there is a way for the city to exercise its powers to get it done faster, please encourage whomever needs to be encouraged to do that. And the other thing is, I believe that there is the possibility of it complicating traffic patterns in downtown more extensively than what we might believe to be the case at this point, especially as Henry Bernstein reminds me, with the closing of the Jimmy Davis Bridge. It's quite possible that we may see additional confusion and additional traffic issues in downtown, so let's stay on top of that as much as we can. Certainly with Milam Street and Crockett Street, we'll just need to be watching that to make sure that we don't have, that we're not, in trying to allay one problem, we're not creating other issues. Any questions that you have, I'll try to answer.
Any questions? If not, Liz, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you keeping your comments to 3 minutes. I forgot to remind you of that because we'll have some people who'll come down and say, well, you see, you let Liz Swain just talk. So,
I'll do my best for the same. Robert Dunlap, attorney at law, 910 Piermont Road, here for the hotel. I really don't have much to add, actually. The mayor and Ms. Swain also addressed everything that, in terms of the process. What we're doing is shutting down temporarily, hopefully for as limited of time as possible, the crossing of the Lake Street, which is really the final piece of the puzzle for the downtown hotel, which will soon be flying the Holiday Inn flag again. It's a benefit to the hotel. We think it's a benefit for the whole area to have successful businesses. And I just want to comment that as the mayor, or reiterate what the mayor said, that this was really an exercise in everybody pulling together and getting things done. The hotel owners have agreed to, time frames, and they are absolutely also on board, as everyone else is, to have this done as quickly as possible. The hotel owners are putting up money to accomplish this, and they, will do their best to push this forward. So we would just tell you that everybody seems to be on board. Ms. Swain is absolutely right. It's not a perfect situation, but it's when everybody pulls together and goes in the same direction, we can get things done. So if you have any questions for the ordinance as it's been amended, I'm be happy to answer them.
if not, the next speaker, and then I'll turn it over to, I'll see if the councilman in that area want to, anybody else want to speak on it? Okay.
Ed Soha, 4423 Cresswell, Shreveport. Just the meetings we've had at the mayor's office in the meeting room were excellent. I think those we got to know our other business neighbors and got to talk about how we could help each other, promote each other. But it was kind of a great exercise to go through that, and I feel very, very positive that that community will continue to flourish and continue to grow and increase. And I just thank everyone for your consideration, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on it?
Charles Chaniara, 7340 Capistrano Drive, Shreveport, 71105. I want to just say thank you, Mayor, for exercising. Means we had a 2-3 conference, and also I want to thank you all the council member and Mr. Jeff Everson for their support to gather all the business owners in that area. And I also want to thank government officials like the city engineer and Lee, and so thank you very much for supporting us for this big and very interesting project. Thanks.
Thank you all very much, and we are happy to actually do this because we don't really want to do anything that's going to hurt our businesses downtown, and we need y'all to continue to grow there and the business to be good, because we don't need a empty building, so to speak, right there coming off the Interstate 20. Jeff, you have anything you want to say?
Well, actually, I was just going to ask the other council members. I mean, I know Liz and everybody who are affected stakeholders, and the mayor and I all had a chance to attend some pretty, good discussions where everybody got to get out some issues. And like's been said before, it's not a perfect situation for anyone, but I think we've come up with something that should address a lot of the concerns. But I don't know if the council members have all had a chance to sort of get a good understanding of what's going on here. But basically, the piece of legislation as it's been kind of drafted up before us today provides for some of the concerns that the business owners in the area had, that those be met before any actual closure takes place. And so what you'd be voting on today is sort of an approval of this happening once these conditions are met. So that's the way it's written. Does anybody, know if anybody had any additional questions or anything about it, but
I think, Mike?
Yeah, just, I know in the amendment that was sent to us, there's a reference to an attachment that we've not seen, and I don't know when we're going to get to see that attachment.
yeah, as I understand it, that's
The agreement.
Yeah, I think it's referred to as attachment A. As I understand it, that's something that
Will follow on.
will follow. Did you have a particular question about
Well,
what?
I just didn't know if it was something that we would have the opportunity to see, or if it was, going to be.
Terry, you want to come forward and
Yeah,
give a
Terry,
brief of what it's
that'd be
going to
good.
cover?
Maybe you can clarify that. Because, I think, because I'd been wondering, once that agreement is done, I'm assuming that sort of with the passage of this, then the parties who are involved have to sign off on that agreement, and that's what makes it effective.
Well, the actual legislation that you may introduce, that you may adopt today will stand on its own. The agreement is intended to be an agreement between the city and the hotel property owner that will dictate terms of how they will pay the money that will be their good faith money, if you will, for closing the street and constructing the project. It will also specify what happens if the money is not remitted to the city. The agreement provides within 30 days after they are provided with a copy of the budget from the city engineer's office, and it basically will outline the terms under which the project will be completed and what each party's responsibilities and obligations will be toward that. Again, it was not attached at the time these amendments were proposed because we really wanted to see if the council would adopt the ordinance as amended, and once that's done, we'll use that as a template to draft the agreement between the city and the property owner.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, the only other thing I had is, it is completely frustrating how long it seems to take to get a railroad crossing and to get the people at the table, and I understand that. I also know that we've heard some discrepancies about when it's going to return to a Holiday Inn. So if you refresh your agenda, I've offered a second amendment out there that will allow us, or that will basically at July 1st, 2015, if this property is not flagged as a Holiday Inn, although the process to get a crossing continues, but the street opens back up. And I just feel like we need that safety in case something happens with the Holiday Inn issue.
Just so let me kind of go back to the beginning, because because really, we can start this project whether we close this street. I mean, this 2-year deal is somewhat independent of the street being closed.
Right.
Correct, right? I mean, that was really an accommodation for the Holiday Inn. Or am I mistaken on that? We got a process over here.
Well, I think I could answer it this way. The Holiday Inn is offering to pay 50% of the cost of constructing the closing, and I'm not sure that they'd be interested in paying that if they don't have the, if the street is open that whole time. I mean, it may be something that we would pursue, but it would probably not be so with their partner. I haven't asked them that, but I'm assuming.
Come back. And I think the main thing is the noise.
No, hold on. We got two different. I think you misunderstand.
But you
what
are
I'm
right
saying.
that the timeline for because Robert is already working on this. I mean, he's
Right.
already
So
having these
the
discussions.
closure of the street is independent, like I said, from the 2-year time that it's going to take to get the crossing bars. Is that correct?
Well, we expected those two will overlap.
Yeah.
But we don't have to have like a year of practice having the street closed to then get the arms. It just takes 2 years to do it, right? And then in order to accommodate and/or give a Holiday Inn every opportunity for success in the interim, we are proposing closing the street. I'm going back to
Stops the horn.
Yes, that's the horn, the noise.
Right, okay, but I mean, I want to, I certainly am not in favor of this potential amendment if for some reason that delays when we could get the other part of the deal started.
Oh, no, you were right, that process is already.
That deal is going its course over here. The amendment over here is, hey, if it doesn't get the Holiday Inn, we can open the street again.
Right.
And is the way your cooperative endeavor agreement, or I'm going to call it a cooperative endeavor agreement, but I'm not sure what it's actually called, between you and the Holiday, between you and the owners of that particular building, is that at all related to whether they get the flagship stamp back or not?
No, I think it's more specifically related to putting up the money.
Right.
The consequences of not putting up the money, the time frame under which the street would be reopened if they failed to put up the money and what have you.
Right.
I got you. Okay, so that's another little wrinkle, because essentially, if we went through this for 6 months and they hadn't gotten their Holiday Inn back, if we enacted this particular legislation, it would give them the opportunity to back out of the 50% of the paying for the crossing arms, right?
As well as the city.
Right.
We wouldn't have to go forward with the project.
It opens back up and things return back to status quo.
Right, but is it not still in the best interest of the city to pursue the crossing arm deal?
Certainly.
Great. Maybe I'm making this more confusing than I need to, but nobody's really catching on here.
But
We
I
got.
think if that's the scenario, if the Holiday Inn doesn't work out, if the payment agreement evaporates, it's still in the city's best interest to push forward to try to find funding and get crossing there, because there are numerous issues with that crossing.
Right, but what I'm saying is, it gives the landowner the opportunity, if you have this clause in there, to back out of this commitment.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, we're to a certain extent negotiating against ourselves, because if they don't get the flagship back, they still are obligated to this money, right? The way that see.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, though I mean, I'm talking out loud, and I want to make sure I understand, but the risk of this is that we lose a 50% payer into our.
Yes.
Terry and I discussed this. I was waiting to see if she was going to jump in. She's worked on this more than I have. But I think that I asked Michael that what if they had already put up their money and the project was proceeding, but they hadn't gotten the Holiday Inn flag back, what happens? And the intent was that the project proceeds, their money is still in the project, but the street would be closed. And the amendment says that that provision would be put in that agreement, so that they would know up front that if they don't get the flag back, that the project will proceed, their money will still be in it, but the street could open back up. As you said, they're independent.
You know, and if I'm understanding this too, the noise impact, the people that will be coming, and this doesn't have anything to do with y'all getting your Holiday Inn flagship back.
If I might, Mr. Chairman. First of all, the flag is coming back in January.
Right.
So that's our anticipation. I have every assurance that that's going to happen. But two, this is a hotel regardless of whether it's a Holiday Inn or whether it's the downtown Shreveport Downtown Hotel. So the success of the hotel, the flagship makes it, having a Holiday Inn, that brings more business because people know Holiday Inn. And it's going to be a Holiday Inn. But even if it were not going to be a Holiday Inn, you still have guests who have the problem of these horns going through in the middle of the night. And so I don't believe I'm speaking out of turn here, that we would want the closure to remain. the Holiday Inn withdrew the flag because so many guests were complaining.
Right.
But regardless of what business name we have on there, it's still a hotel that needs to have guests that are comfortable in the middle of the night. So I hope that addresses the concern that you had. I mean, one way or the other, we want it fixed, and we're willing to pay for half of it. So
I think you've addressed that.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Bishop, we only have two, because it's not on the street closing, but why don't you come forward? I think yours is on 222. And, Ms. Rogers, I believe you have 222, so we can do it, and Bishop, you might have Bible study. What you want to get to.
Thank you so much. I found myself watching my watch like my members
Right,
do.
I saw you back there, and Sam kind of brought it to my attention.
Right.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and the council. The care of human life and happiness and not their destruction is the first and only object of good government, says our late President Thomas Jefferson. I'm here in support of Resolution 222, street improvements. We're in a critical time in the city of Shreveport to hopefully pass a resolution repairing the streets and the infrastructures for the citizens of this community. Streets are an integral part of economic growth, business, commerce, both domestic and foreign, and potential residents. Here are just a few of the facts that we should consider and that I'm sure that I believe that you're already aware of as a part of the decision-making process for the future of our great city. Number one, the citizens of Shreveport have identified that street repairs is the most important, one of the most important issues facing our great city. Secondly, we realize that our city has over 50 million in street repair needs, and that the 2011 bond issue only had 21 million. The city has to commit more, in my opinion, the city has to commit more money to this particular problem. We cannot continue to use the pay-as-you-go strategy. We need a large sum of money to make real progress and to meet a real need. Since 2011, our mayor, Mayor Cedric B. Glover, has asked the City Council to approve 6 large-scale street repair programs. 3 times he asked for 100 million, once for 75 million, once for 65 million, and once for 74 million. And each time the City Council didn't approve. As I often state at Praise Temple, to Praise Temple's leadership, that we can either go down in history or we can go down in history. So today's approval of Resolution 222 for street improvements will serve as a huge win for the citizens of Shreveport and our future, and we then will positively go down in history. And I repeat, Thomas Jefferson, the care of human life and happiness, not their destruction, is the first and only object of good government. And I really appreciate this great city council. Thank you for all that you do. God bless.
Bishop, we appreciate you being down here. I just wish you had been down there when we was trying to get 3132. All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Rogers, please.
Good evening, Ms. B. Irma Rogers, 1920 Michoud Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. Chairman Shine, Councilwoman McCullough, and the other members of the council, I think you've seen me at least 4 times this year on this very issue concerning our streets and drainage issues also. After having been annexed to the city for some 37 years, according to your records, we are in dire need of services. I am coming to the close of a year from our organization, MLK CDC, and I try to prepare a report for them. We've had several discussions with the mayor, Mayor Glover, Mrs. Sibley, and others, and we still have not come to a conclusion. If the council, and I think I've asked this before, intends to set this aside. Please give us a timeline. Give me a timeline to take back to my board. My board was here in February. I've been back in May, right around Memorial Day. I've come back in July and on Veterans Day. I brought you the issues of our streets and drainage systems. I told you about a drainage system for a woman who passed away, waiting for something to be done, whose husband was a Purple Heart recipient in my neighborhood. So you can see this is very, very important to us. I really would like to get some answers to take back for the close of the year to my board. Thank you for your
Rogers, I
time.
believe the city is spending now $2.5 to $3 million in your area on a particular street in that area, and coast. You can maybe take that back to your board. That's being spent now on, I believe, on the Hershey D. Wilson Street. In the MLK area. I don't know how much other money is being spent up there right now, but
$4 million.
$4 million is being spent up there right now. So
Okay.
that's
And of course, Hershey D. Wilson is not the only street. There's 12 others. I presented her those facts on the last time she was here.
okay. But now you just want to know what monies is being spent right now. So it's,
I am in support of 222, about the $76 million that would help with so many others.
okay.
I understand about approximately 3 in our area, and then Lewis Place, and then a couple of others in District A. However, we have been in need for so many years until that's the question. When will we get a large sum that will address so many of the other streets?
Well, I cannot answer that at this particular time, because
Okay.
there are other needs, and there are other needs that have been there now. When you will get some more money, I cannot answer that.
Councilman Shine, we have a $28 million need in District A. So the
It-
2 point something is crumbs. We want the whole loaf. We want a loaf.
Well, you see, just like she want a whole load,
Yeah.
there are a whole lot of other folks who wanted a whole load.
Yeah, but this
So-
would help.
So,
22 would help.
I do understand.
Right.
My plea was simply, since I've come down in February where I brought some 125 slides
Right.
that shows the very grave deterioration of our streets compared to other parts of the city, and that we have been waiting for this for some 37 years. That's my plea.
okay, Ms. Rogers,
Been
I
so
think
long.
that we could have taken that $2.5 million and maybe taken care of a whole bunch of streets.
But not 28 million.
Uh,
Not
So at-
28 million.
So at this particular time, I cannot tell you when you're gonna get the other. Now, you and Ms. Wilson might wanna have a discussion on the 28 million, or the 30 million, or the 165 million, or whatever. So I as chairman, I can't answer that. Now, if you directing that to Ms. McCullough there, when it's gonna come, I don't really know.
I'm just directing it to the resolution that would set
Right,
aside the
well, that's- okay.
76 million, which may afford us
Okay,
a good portion
okay.
that would help us to make progress in that vein.
Okay, now, I don't think anybody can tell you when the resolution 222 is gonna be passed.
Okay.
It's on the agenda. Appreciate you coming down, Ms.
Thank you.
Rogers, and thank you very much, and have a nice Thanksgiving. Okay, I believe we have one other here, and it should be, is Mr. William Alexander here? Is Mr. William Alexandria here? Mr. Sibley. Mr. Alexander is not here, but he was here about, talking about his water bill. And, did he contact, have you been contacted? Anybody been contacted? Oh, you all have? Okay. Did you all come to any kind of resolution? Okay, but I did tell him that he would need to talk to, come down and talk to you. That I could not, I did not have the authority to do anything about his water bill. He could talk to you, and if there was a solution, you could recommend that to the council, and then we could handle it from that way. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I can't help but to acknowledge with Mrs. Rogers here today, also from the MLK Cooper Road community. I don't assume that she did not fill out a request to speak form, but I know my mother would not be happy if I did not at least acknowledge her presence and certainly offer her the opportunity to be able to come and say whatever may be on her heart to this council and to the city of Shreveport today. But she has been a woman who has been like a mother to me and so many other folks throughout the city. She still works to this very day, looking out for the young people as well as our seniors up in the northern portion of the city, employed by the Caddo Community Action Agency, a North Shreveport legend, Mrs. Ernestine Thompson, who is here. Glad to have you here, Mrs. Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, I've been knowing Mrs. Thompson, I guess, since Cedric was in elementary school. When I first came to Lanier, Mr. Mayor, I don't want to say when because it might tell my age, but Ms. Thompson, it's so good to have you down. You worked in that area, and you worked all over the parish, all over the city, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it so much.
She is one of the folks here to add her voice to the chorus of support to Ms. Rogers and the others.
We appreciate that.
About the streets.
We appreciate that, Ms. Thompson. Okay, Mr. Sibley, the mayor, do y'all have any appointments today to be considered?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, we back in your hands.
Mr. Chairman, we on resolutions on second reading and final passage. I have a resolutions 212 and 213 need to be postponed because of
Can I get a motion?
issues.
Been moved by Councilman Ron Webb, second by Councilman Mike Carvin to postpone. Let's vote, please. All right, these two resolutions have been postponed. Okay, how's that? All right. Wait a minute. It's still,
No, is your vote yes to postpone?
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Shine, resolution, we would like for you to consider removing resolution number 52 of 2014 from the table. It amends the pay plan for general classified employees to provide a one-time lump sum pay increase.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Ron Webb, second by Councilman Carvin. Did I say Carvin? Okay. Let's vote, please.
Now, what was his motion? I didn't
To remove it from the table.
Oh, okay. All right.
7-0 vote to remove from the table.
Mr. Shine, it has one amendment. The amendment puts in the correct dates in this particular resolution. The resolution was offered some time ago, and now the amendment puts in the correct dates.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Let's vote. The amendment passes with a 7-0 vote.
Mr. Webb, try it again.
Wait, so
I have not been checking Art's work.
can I pull this in?
Move on it as amended.
Can I read it?
Where he did this.
Can I read this?
6-0 vote.
6-0, who? I got a 7-0 vote.
7-0, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 7, that's okay,
That's
that's
on the
okay. That's okay.
She started her Christmas cheer.
Move as amended, Mr. Chair.
second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb and second by Councilman Mike Carvin as amended. 7-0 vote, okay.
Mr. Chairman, we would ask you to remove Resolution 214 from the agenda. It dealt with the same issue, but it could not with the same issue. So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Mike Carvin, second by Councilman Ron Webb to remove it from the agenda. Let's vote, please. All right.
Press the card this time, Mr. Chair.
There you go.
Resolutions 217 and 218 have been adopted. Resolution 219 suspends certain provisions of Chapter 10 and Chapter 106 relative to alcoholic beverages on February the 15th, 2015, concerning the dispensing, sale, and/or consumption of alcoholic beverages at 4041 Fern Avenue for Maryland's Place Mardi Gras celebration.
So moved.
Oliver, it's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote, please. Legislation passes with a 7-0 vote.
Resolution 220 declares the city's interest in certain adjudicated properties as surplus.
What's the pledge? It's been moved by the chair,
So moved.
second by
Or second.
Councilman Jeff Everson. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote, please. A 7-0 vote.
221 declares the city's interest in certain adjudicated properties as surplus.
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by the chair. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote. Legislation passed with a 7-0 vote.
Resolution 220 declares the intention of the city to proceed with the issuance of not to exceed $76 million street improvement bonds in one or more series for the purpose of financing the cost of constructing, paving, and improving public streets in the city, including utility relocation and incidental sewer and drainage work required, thereby making application to the Louisiana State Bond Commission for approval and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote, please. Okay, this resolution fails with the vote.
My vote, did my vote go in?
Yes, 4-3 vote.
It's on there, yes.
4-3 vote.
Yeah, that was resolution 222. I
Right.
don't know what I said.
That's okay. I
You
corrected.
said 220.
Yeah, that's okay. I corrected you. 222. All right. Ms.
We had
Rose.
one that was added. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to dedicate Circle Drive in honor of Wilbert Alvin Williams.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Rose McCullough, second by Councilman Jeff Everson. Questions or discussions? If not, let's vote, please. Resolution passes with a,
What resolution number is that, or am I looking at a
228.
220?
That's an add-on.
that was add-on.
Copy.
We added it today. Was it 228 or 229?
228.
228.
I mean,
Oh, wait, no, no,
no,
no.
no,
Yeah,
no, no,
229.
229, 229.
Mr. Thompson, did we remove 226 at our work session, or did we?
removed it.
Okay.
That was removed, right? Okay. Mr. Thompson, would you please proceed with the introduction of resolutions? Not to be adopted before December the 9th?
Mr. Chairman,
Resolution.
Yes.
before we go there, I just want to make a brief statement on 222. We'll see you gentlemen and ladies back at the next council meeting. I want to thank those 3 council members who are committed to seeing us go forward with repairing the streets of the city of Shreveport. And Mr. Chairman, I do want to offer one comment within the context of the comment that you made and to Bishop Brandon about wishing that he'd been here to express those same sentiments about Louisiana 3132.
I wish he had been here.
I want to say this, Louisiana 3132 hadn't been built. At least the extension of it has not been built, and the decision on whether or not it will be built or not is a process that finally the folks who claim to be the advocates of it have allowed to go forward with the process that's known as the Phase 1 effort for that particular project.
Mr. Mayor,
What we do have right now, though, are literally 1,000 miles of Shreveport roads that are built right now, that are the responsibility of the citizens of the city of Shreveport, that we don't properly take care of, Mr. Shine. And so to offer Bishop Brandon and the citizens of the city of Shreveport a homily about doing something about a road that hadn't been built as an excuse for not addressing the roads that currently are built, Mr. Shine, is
We
not
hear this from you
accepting the
every,
response.
we hear
And
this
you
from
will,
you
and
every
you will
city
hear it until
council
the very
meeting.
last day that
And
we
I still appreciate,
and we'll
I still
continue
wish
to
Bishop Brandon had been down here.
hear it going forward, Mr. Shine,
Mayor,
because the folks that you represent
Mr. Mayor, I
want
still
you
would
to
have.
do what it is that you said that you were gonna do, Mr. Shine,
Mr.
and that's to
Thompson.
help to fix the streets.
Mr. Thompson, let's
And
move
so
on,
we'll see
please.
you at the next council meeting, and
Please,
hopefully,
please,
at some
please.
point in time, you'll
Please.
get back to a sentiment that you
Please.
expressed
Please,
to your own constituents
That's right, and
3 years ago
look here.
about what it is that you said you would do to fix the streets.
Mr. Mayor, you could have done this, you could have started on this 8 years ago. Mr. Thompson, let's move on, please.
Introduction of resolutions. Resolution 223 authorizes the mayor to sign an engagement letter and agreement between the city and BKD LLP for an external audit of the city of Shreveport for fiscal year January 1st, 2014 through December the 31st. Resolution 224 authorizes the mayor to execute a signed maintenance agreement and a mowing and ladder pickup agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. Resolution 225 authorizes the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement with the city of Shreveport and Hope for the Homeless. Two were added. 227, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Economic Development Corporation and Module X Solutions LLC in connection with the award of Economic Development Award Program funds and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Resolution 228, a resolution to amend Resolution Number 97 of 2012, which authorizes the expenditure of citywide street improvement program funds.
So move for introduction.
It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, a second this time by Councilman Jeff Everson. All right, he's on time. All right, these legislation will be introduced. They will lay over for 2 weeks until December the 9th. At that time, they may or may not be acted upon.
We're now in the introduction of
Mr.
ordinances.
Shine, please vote.
I'm sorry. All right.
7-0.
Did it come through?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 7-0 vote for introduction.
We're now in the introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to December the 9th. Ordinance 157 declares the city's interest in certain vacant lots as surplus, and the city's intention to donate certain vacant lots acquired by community development for Phase 3 of Concordia Place development to Habitat for Humanity of Northwest Louisiana. Ordinance 158 amends the 2014 retained risk fund budget. Ordinance number 159 amends the 2014 Metropolitan Planning Commission fund budget. Resolution, zoning matters C-62-14. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances by rezoning property located on the northwest corner of Ellerby Road and East Flournoy Lucas Road from RA Residence Agriculture District to B2 Neighborhood Business Plan Unit Development. 161 is a zoning matter C-78-14. It rezones property located on the south side of East 70th Street, 650 feet east of East Kings Highway, from B3 Community Business District to B3E Community Business Extended Use District for ice cream manufacture and distribution with site plan approval. 162 is a zoning matter C-85-14. It rezones property located on the north side of James Street, 170 feet east of Belva, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from R2 Suburban Multifamily Residence District to B3 Community Business District with site plan approval. That's it, Mr. Shine.
So move for introduction.
All right, it's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins and second by the chair for introduction. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote. Legislation will be introduced. It will lay over for 2 weeks. At that time, it may or may not be acted upon.
Mr. Shine,
yes.
the ordinances, we're now in the ordinances on second reading and final passage. The ordinances on the pay award have amendments, and the amendments incorporate the ordinances that were introduced that could not be adopted today. So that's what the amendments number 1 will be on all of these ordinances. Ordinance number 19 amends the 2014 Water and Sewage Fund budget. It has one amendment, amendment number 1.
So move on the amendment.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins on the amendment, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote. The amendment passes.
McCullough. The 7-0 vote, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, 7-0 vote. All right.
We'll move on to legislation as amended.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins on the legislation as amended. Let's vote. 7-0 vote.
Mrs. Shine, try it again.
Oh, I got it that time. 7-0 vote on the legislation as amended.
You would think after so many years being down here, he could push that button.
Number 20 amends the 2014
Oliver.
Development Special
Thank
Revenue
you.
Fund budget. It has one amendment.
No, it's that.
So moved on the amendment.
It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins on the amendment, second by Councilman Mike Carmen. Any questions or discussion? If not, let's vote. Did it come through that time?
Yours did, Mr. Sam Jenkins, thank you.
All right.
Seven vote on the
Yeah, I'm
amendment.
sorry, yeah, 7-0 vote. Yeah.
Move on the legislation as amended. Second.
Been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Carvin on the legislation as amended.
I know he looks like me, now he sounds like me.
I'm sorry,
Let's find out.
okay, no, but Sam Jenkins, you know, Oliver, I'm sorry. Oliver got me so nervous up here.
So the
Okay,
motion was
7-0
by
vote
Councilman
as
Sam
amended.
Jenkins and seconded by Councilman Oliver Jenkins.
That's fine.
Thank you. Ms. McCullough, please vote.
Okay,
Now we have a 7-0 vote, Mr.
7-0
Chairman.
vote on the legislation as amended.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance number 21 amends the 2014 Airport Enterprise Fund budget. It has one amendment.
Move on amendment.
It's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb on the amendment, second by Councilman Sam Jenkins. Wait a minute, Oliver Jenkins?
Oliver Jenkins.
Y'all sound so much alike.
I tell you.
Okay. All right.
They got the pocketbooks.
Oh, okay. Wait, you would pass that.
Wow.
Look at y'all's pocketbook.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm not a lawyer, don't throw me in that category.
7-0 vote. Okay, on the
Ordinance as
amendment.
amended.
It's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb, second by Councilman Jeff Everson on the legislation as amended. Let's vote, please. 7-0 vote on the legislation as amended.
Ordinance number 22 amends the 2014 Golf Enterprise Fund budget. It has one amendment.
Move on amendment. Second.
Move on the amendment, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Any questions or discussion? Not, let's vote. Okay,
So moved as amended.
okay, so moved
Second.
by Councilman Mike Carvin on the legislation as amended, second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, Sam Jenkins this time, I'm sorry. Let's vote. Legislation has passed with the 7-0 vote as amended.
Ordinance number 24 amends the 2014 General Fund budget. It has one amendment.
Move on amendment.
Been moved by Councilman Ron Webb on the amendment, second by Councilman Mike Carvin on the amendment. All right, that passes, the amendment
Yes,
passes
sir,
with 7-0 vote. Can I get a,
So moved as amended.
okay, it's been moved by Councilman Mike Carvin on the legislation as amended, second by the chair. Let's vote, please. Legislation passes with the 7-0 vote as amended.
Chair, we're down to ordinance number 98. It authorizes the city to close and restrict vehicular access to Lake Street from Commerce Street to Cyport Center and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. There are two amendments. Amendment number 1 substitutes the ordinance that was introduced with a new ordinance. The new ordinance adds conditions under which the vehicular access to Lake Street from Commerce Street to the Cyport Discovery Center will be accomplished.
So moved on the amendment.
It's been moved by Councilman Jeff Everson, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough.
Question.
All right.
Okay, so the commitment to pay half, when does that occur? When we actually get invoiced for work, or is there put
The
in
project
escrow?
is established.
And a budget is set.
And a budget is set, by information that will be developed by Robert Westerman in the engineering department, and submitted to the folks at the Holiday Inn. They have 30 days to make their financial commitment as detailed within the legislation.
And then at which point, if they don't, what happens?
It does not become effective, or then we can at that point negate the effectiveness of the
Agreement.
agreement.
And that's what is covered by the agreement contemplated in the attachment that Mr. Corbin asked about earlier.
And as I read this, it's not naming this ownership group, it's naming whoever the current owner of the property is at the time of that project, who may or may not have an interest in participating in this.
In an effort to ensure that we end up being specific about the property and not the group.
Mr. Mayor, I would ask, on a request, that you would make sure that you would let Councilman Mike Carbon and Councilman Oliver Jenkins know when the agreement is signed, sealed, and can I say delivered.
So what
Yeah, that
exactly?
kind of sounds like a song, doesn't it?
What
Might be put that into a
what
song.
exactly does amendment number 2? Well, I mean, what does it do if we already have that in place? I'm still
If these
not
folks move forward as they've said they're going to do,
nothing.
it becomes a Holiday Inn. We close the street, and the powers that are involved in getting the crossing arms continue to move that project forward. The only way this protects us is July 1st. That's not a Holiday Inn. We can open the street back up.
What if it's a Hyatt?
Yeah, you
Well,
know.
there's all we've been told is we're going to be a Holiday Inn. Come back and talk to us. If there's a change, we can have that discussion.
Councilman Mike Carbon is my friend, but I don't think this is a good amendment. I don't think this is good business-wise. Because
Clarify that there's amendment number 1, which adds the things that were just discussed before. And then amendment number 2 is Mr. Corbin's amendment that adds the July 15th.
But what we have a motion on right now is amendment number
So-
1.
Okay, what we have on the floor is
Number two
amendment
is
number
written.
1.
Sir?
I said, what we have now on the floor is amendment number 1?
Correct.
Okay.
Number 1 is what we're considering?
Yeah, 1 is what we consider.
All right.
Okay, let's vote on that, please.
That passes. Thank you.
Okay, amendment number 1 passes. Okay, now, you
Amendment number 2, now therefore be it ordained, you would add this paragraph 1A, the temporary restriction on vehicular access to Lake Street at the grade crossing with the Union Pacific Railroad shall be in effect for a period of 2 years more or less, commencing on January the 5th, 2015, and ending at 12 p.m. on January the 5th, 2017, which is the closure period. And B, however, the temporary restriction on vehicular access shall cease on July the 1st, 2015, if the property owner has not obtained the legal right to use and begin using the Holiday Inn brand name or the hotel located at 102 Lake Street. The reopening of vehicular access shall not affect the project and shall not affect the agreement authorized in paragraph 3, and the provisions of this paragraph shall be included in said agreement.
Mike,
The city has the
So moved
option.
on amendment number 2.
it's been moved by Councilman Carbon on amendment number
support
2.
that.
What is the pleasure with the second?
Bills for lack of a second.
I'm thinking yeah, I think I'm the only one, Rose. I think I'm the only one who can do that at this
There was a little
particular
air
point.
in here, you know, I thought
I know, but don't do that. This,
This motion
the,
was second by who?
no, it fails because we did not get a second.
Okay,
I'm sorry, clear my,
I mean,
because I had voted no on it anyway. I mean, but clear mine, please. All right, Mr. Thompson, let's move on,
We
please.
need an adoption on the ordinance as amended.
Legislation as amended, yeah.
So moved.
Yeah,
Moved on the
Ordinance as
ordinance
amended.
as-
on the amendment.
by amendment number 1.
yeah, right, I'm sorry. He moved on the amendment as amended.
Moved as amended to pass it.
I moved on the second amendment. We voted on one amendment, then I thought we was voting on the second amendment.
No, it fails as
well,
a,
no, well, he needed a second, but.
And he didn't get it, so
if-
that-
If
so-
Ron offered a second, I think we got it.
Right.
oh, you offered a second?
No, he did
I
not.
offered a second on both of them.
No, he did not.
Well,
He did not.
well, we're gonna act like he did and we'll vote then.
Okay, I'd like, let's get to discussion on this item. Now, I mean, what I'm interested in this is if not everybody lives up to their commitment, that we don't have that road closed for 2 years. Okay? or at least we can reconsider it. Now, I'm not saying, and my question is, if we change, the way the ordinance, the way this amendment is written right now, it says shall.
Which amendment are we talking about now? Two?
Now
Number two?
amendment number 2,
Go ahead.
paragraph 1B, uses the term shall cease.
But we got the full votes.
I would like, or what I think we ought to consider, at least deliberate on, is the city being given that option, because, for instance, if it is the Hyatt, we're going to obviously continue to exercise that option, right? But it gives us some flexibility in terms if we have a change of ownership in the hotel, and we don't have another flagship that's willing to step up and take it, and there's absolutely no money going into the hotel and it's been abandoned, we're basically in this limbo for 2 years. Maybe we don't think that's really a risk. And I guess I don't know enough about the contract to see what our outs would be from a standpoint of, because the contract doesn't exist right now. So I'm not, I guess in summary, I didn't really consider this till this was all presented to me today from Mr. Corbin, and there's some merit to giving us some outs with non-performance by the other party in this particular case. If we had a contract, it might be a little clear what the performance and non-performances are.
Okay, let's
Yes,
vote.
but he's in the
Now-
second. I'm sitting right here next to
You
this
see where I'm
man.
going on this?
I see,
Let me-
but I see where you're going, but I don't agree. I don't think,
Okay.
I think the parties have come before us with an agreement as to how they would like to proceed. And I think simply because some of us may not be in agreement with that, which we have a right not to be in agreement with, I don't think we ought to impair the contract with some language, 6 months out, that really just knocks away everything that everybody just spent a lot of time discussing and trying to come up with some agreement on.
Could I suggest, let's vote on this at this particular point, because I
But it
think,
failed, Councilman Shine, for a lack of a second. Why are we voting on it? Mr. Councilman Webb
What?
did not make a second. I'm sitting right here next to him. He hit the yes button, but he did not make a second.
well,
So what are we doing? What are we illustrating? We got students looking at us in city government here.
I think we have 4 votes at this time, Ms. McCullough, to vote this down, but we want to at least give our colleague an opportunity to
Thank you.
to do this. All right, let's vote at this time, please. Okay, Amendment 2 fails with a 4 vote, and is that 5? 5 votes against and 2 for, so let's move on, and that settles the whole discussion.
We need a motion on the ordinance as amended.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Ron Webb and second by Councilman Jeff Everson on the amendment as amended. Gentlemen, did you all understand what happened? The vote, the second motion that was proposed by Councilman Mike Corbin failed. So you have what you need. Thank y'all very much, and let's hope that you have great business down there. Okay, and any of my relatives who come in to town, I'll encourage them to come down there, because all my relatives are kind of old. Me at this particular point, they have lived a long time, so I don't know whether they'd be moving around very much. But Dale, you got a lot of young folks in your, so let's encourage them to do that. Thank y'all very much, yeah?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Oliver Jenkins, press your votes again, thank you.
Go forward, gentlemen.
Wait, but what is, this is,
As amended.
I'm sorry, yeah, as a minute, I'm sorry. Make that a yes vote instead of a no vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Shine, we're down to ordinance 135. It's a zoning ordinance.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Before we get to the next ordinance, I want to go back and since it was a series of votes and not one single vote, I want to go back and express thanks and appreciation to Councilman Webb and to all the rest of you for working together with the administration and achieving the success in providing the lump sum payment for our employees. With you all's collective action on those series of resolutions and ordinances, we will have the ability to be able to ensure that that $1,000 one-time lump sum payment will be in their stockings prior to the Christmas holiday. And so thank you all for that support. We know that there's even more that we want to be able to do for our employees. They are certainly most deserving, but without question, I think that you have several thousand folks across this city right now who are very happy based upon the actions that this council has just taken. So thank you again, and God bless.
I want to thank Councilman Ron Webb too, because he and I are probably the only two council members who had to work very hard for our living. So my hands are rough now from many years of working hard. So Councilman Webb, I want to thank you. I did not have an easy profession, Dale, and thank you, Ron. Let's move on.
Councilman Sean,
Yeah.
I have a question. I asked this question at the budget meeting because the employees and, they had a concern about it as to whether or not it was going to be one check or two. Did we ever come to a decision on whether or not they would be distributed one check or
The
would
staff
they?
has been working to separate it out. There'll be two separate
So it will
checks.
be two separate checks, and I think that's what they wanted. So the labor union lady is here, so you can let them know that we did address the issue, and it will be two separate checks. Thank you.
And you all have a let's say a happy holiday for Thanksgiving. And I think some of the workers usually fix a little turkey or something in Public Works, water and sewage, and if so, tell them I'm a turkey man. All right, thank you all there. All right, Mr. Thompson, I believe we're back with you now.
We're now in the ordinances on second reading and final passage not to be adopted.
Should be 135.
135.
Not to be adopted to
You said 135.
December the 9th, Mr. Thompson, is that? These are to be postponed until December the 9th?
Mr. Shine, I'm told that we did not do ordinance 135.
Sure did.
It rezones property located on the south side of West 79th Street, 300 feet east of Linwood Avenue, from R1D, Urban One Family Residence District, to B1, Buffer Business District, with MPC and Planned Building Group approval for a residence and otherwise prepared with respect thereto.
Moved by the chair. Second by Oliver and Sam Jenkins.
Mr. Chairman,
vote,
who made
please.
the motion?
Okay.
The chairman did.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the chairman, right.
C and D made the second. Thank you.
Okay, this piece of legislation passes with the 7-0 vote.
Mr. Shine, the following resolutions, ordinance 138, 139, 140, 141, 142, and 143, need to be postponed until December the 9th.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough. Let's vote, please. The following legislation will be postponed with a 6-vote, 1 out of the chamber.
Mr. Shine, the following items can be removed from the agenda. They concern the one-time pay increase. Ordinance 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, 149.
So moved to remove.
Been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilwoman Rose McCullough to be removed from the agenda. Let's vote, please. With a 6-0 vote, they were removed.
The following ordinances need to be postponed: 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 156.
So moved to postpone.
Been moved by Councilman Mike Carbon, second by Councilman Jeff Everson to be postponed. Let's vote, please. Legislation has been postponed with a 6-0 vote.
I have a question. Why are they being postponed?
Because of the time frame required for noticing.
We're 1 day short.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Shine, we're now under table legislation. There was some discussion, I believe it was on Friday, about the possibility of removing from the table resolution number 195 of 2014, which is a 2015 annual action plan for the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Sibley or Bunny, do you know if this ready to be taken up? Whatever happened, did we vote on that?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Thompson. I'd rather hold until we can confirm that. I
Okay.
thought we were looking into the January timeframe on their
All right.
interaction with HUD, but, right, that's correct. It has to be done after the budget is passed. That's why we're looking at. the later
Okay.
date.
Well, Mr. Thompson, we don't have anything to be removed,
well-
right?
Well, yes, sir. We would ask that all of the budget ordinances be removed from the table, the ones that are to be adopted no later than December the 15th, so that they can be taken up at the next council meeting. They're 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 131.
It's been moved by Councilman Mike Carvin,
Second.
second by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, that we would remove these from the table. Let's vote, please.
Who seconded the motion?
Councilman Oliver Jenkins, not Sam Jenkins, but Oliver Jenkins. I heard his voice distinctly this time.
Mr. Webb, we're removing the 2015 budget ordinances from the table. Do you
Mr.
want to
Chairman,
vote?
I voted, I have to leave, I have an emergency at the house.
Okay, thank you. All right, that passes with a 7-0 vote to remove those from the table.
Mr. Shannon, I believe we are now to property standards appeals in both PSD 13000006 and the other for Mr. Thomas Thomas Davis were taken up, and that's my clerk's report.
Okay.
No. No.
You wouldn't try that now, would you? Yes, you would.
Wow, okay, Mr. Thompson, what else do we have?
I'm not aware of anything else, any other appeals. I don't know whether there are any committee reports.
I'm not either. If not, any reports, I believe we got a clerk's report on yesterday, Councilman Jenkins, so.
That would have been the first one of the month, probably, I mean, at this point. It's so rare that we actually get one.
Possibly the
anymore.
quarter.
Maybe that's the first of the fourth quarter. You may be correct. I'm gonna check some of the
Mr. Thompson,
minutes.
friends like that, I don't think you would need anybody to be against you at this particular time. Okay, the council will resolve itself into a committee of the whole.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Mike Carvin. Let's vote. All right. The approval of it passes with a
Mr. Chairman.
6 vote, huh?
Just a minute. Ms. McCullough, Mr. Everson, and Mr. Corbin, please.
Okay, that passes with a 6-0 vote, one out of the chamber. What is your pleasure with the approval of the minutes?
So moved on the minutes.
It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by Councilman Sam Jenkins on the approval of the minutes of November 11th, 2014. Okay, it says communications of the mayor. Mr. Mayor?
We want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a chance to be able to enjoy family and friends. Certainly hope that the employees of the city of Shreveport will take heart in the positive vote that was just made by the citizens of the city council, the members of the city council, and that even includes the various staffs, just not the elected, so that folks are very clear about that, which I believe means that the council will be expecting, at the very least, lunch, if not dinner, to be forthcoming from one Arthur Thompson. So with that, happy Thanksgiving. And we also want to again express encouragement for folks to go out and participate in the Small Business Awareness Day this coming Saturday, November 29th. In particular, we would encourage you to come to downtown Shreveport, to the Red River District, and support the businesses that are there. There's several contests involved that one can participate in as a part of that effort. Lastly, I want to say thank you to all of the folks who were engaged in a part of the Lake Street closure process. And you all can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was the last meeting in October that we were here for the public hearing. Was that correct, Robert? Since that time, which is approximately a month ago, we've had 2 meetings of all of the various stakeholders. And here,
And Mr.
one
Mayor,
month.
I'm glad you said stakeholders, because you know we had a couple of that was down that were not stakeholders.
Well, now, I got to broaden that because we count interested parties as well. Because, Mr. Shine, one aspect of this that lots of folks don't recognize is that there are lots of folks who drive back and forth. They aren't property owners, but they are folks who are impacted and affected, and we opened up the table for all parties to come, engage, and to make their thoughts and concerns known. As a result of that, we've come out.
Those people did not show up.
Well,
So
no,
I
some of them did show up, Mr.
Well, I'm
Shine. They
glad
didn't
that
show
they
up in the
did
council chambers, but they showed up in the intervening month to make their thoughts and concerns known, and they were factored into this process.
I'm
And so,
glad that they did.
It's one of the best examples of how the democratic process can effectively work. You had people who a month ago were without question diametrically opposed to each other. You had people who showed up here who did not want to in any way conscious any form of closure for any period of time whatsoever. But when they had a chance to be able to sit down and hear and have a good, open, constructive exchange, and have that also supported with great information that went back and forth, you ended up with a consensus being built and a sense of urgency that came forward that allowed us some 30 days hence to be able to do what this council just did a few minutes ago. I want to particularly thank Councilman Jeff Everson for his leadership. I'm only worried by the fact that I'm in agreement with Mr. Shine, which makes me a little bit concerned about what may be behind all of this. But
I know it does. I know. You and I can agree. I know it does, because I've agreed with you on some things, and
But now
you have
that
to
shows
regret
you,
it, but that's okay.
that shows you that now even a blind hole will find an acorn every now and then.
Well, I'm
and
glad
so,
you found them, Mr. Mayor.
And a broke clock is right twice a day. So, so with that, I want
I'm
to
glad to know
express.
that. I've lived all these years, and I didn't really know that. I'm glad to get that.
That's a nugget. That's a nugget we'll share with you, Mr. John.
No, that's wisdom. That's wisdom.
But again, outstanding work by Councilman Everson, as well as Liz Swain, and all of the folks who came. Robert Westerman was a source of expert information that was clear and consistent, and allowed us to be able to cut through a lot of the back and forth. And as usual, Terry Scott, as city attorney, came in with the kind of reliable legal advice that allowed us to be able to know that everybody was operating from the same sheet of music. So thank you all, and everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
If I could briefly add to that, just want to give a special thanks to those business owners besides the Holiday Inn folks. You know, the Holiday Inn folks, this is a problem they've been aware of for quite some time, and they've been dealing with it for a long time. But those other parties who were impacted by this, this was something that was new to them. It caught them a little bit off guard. And they really made a lot of extra effort to get themselves educated on it, see what the impact would be, come to the table with some solutions. And I just want to commend them for all of the work that they did, you know, really to make sure that their interests were met, but really also to be great citizens, to think about not only their interests, but the larger impact that it would have on their community. So.
Okay, I'm so glad. Michelle Arrego, since everybody else is talking, you have anything you want to say?
I have a question.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, communications from council members. Okay, Ms. McCullough.
I have a couple of questions. I asked the mayor and administration earlier if the mayor's office had received a letter from Ms. Helen Adger.
And we sent that email up to clerical staff, and no one has received any information.
On Kenneth Street.
From a Helen Adger, or we didn't ask anything from Kenneth Street, but we did ask specifically in reference to the name Helen Adger, and the response was no. But if you can give us a name and a number, we'll reach out to her and see if we can't make contact and find out how we can assist.
All right. And Mr. Westerman, you know, you were working on re-identifying through NLCOG and the Department of Transportation, those minor arterials are requested by the citizens in District A, Russell Road, David Rains.
The reclassification.
Yeah, where are we with that?
That's an R1D to state family residence. Appeal, this is a guy.
Michael Erlin has completed the traffic counts of both roads, and that information has been submitted forth to NLCOG and TODD, and to the DOTD for their consideration.
Okay, so we're just waiting to hear from them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, if we have no more communications, we will reconvene into our regular meeting, and I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned.
What have y'all done to Sammy?
Through him.
I called him
not
earlier,
here.
actually,
Right.
and because he called me to tell me he had a written speech prepared to give today, and I called him to make sure that
I thought he was
on Monday.